So I'm going to give a quick introduction for those of you who do not know who John E.L. Tenney is. Okay, everyone? Listen up. There's a whole paragraph I wrote. All right? John E.L. Tenney is one of the most well-recognized and highly sought-after investigators of UFO, paranormal, and occult phenomena in the world. He has been actively involved in the field of anomalistic, conspiratorial, occult, UFOlogical, and paranormal research for over 3 decades. That's pretty much the whole time I've been alive and more. His columns and articles have been printed in magazines and newspapers worldwide, and he has acted as a consult for numerous companies including NBC, ABC, A&E, Fox, SyFy, the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal, and more. He has worked on numerous television shows, including Unsolved Mysteries, Sightings, Very Scary Stories, Paranormal State, The New Class, Ghost Stalkers, Paranormal Lockdown, Hellier, and Kindred Spirits. Tenney is the author of over a dozen books and has been interviewed extensively on radio and television worldwide, and is a current co-host of What's Up Weirdo with his best friend Jessica Knapik. And now he's here! He's here now, okay? So, let's give a warm Twitch welcome to the incredible John E.L. Tenney.
That worked
Is everything
perfectly.
Working? Great.
It worked perfectly. And you're starting off with a lie. You said that you wrote that yourself.
I mean, you know,
I wrote that to sound
words.
as complimentary toward myself as possible.
I added a few words. I took some away. You know, I took a couple of thes away. I took a couple of he's and tennies out of there.
I also loaded up with words to see people stumble. Oh, I just did it. See people stumble over anomalistic and conspiratorial.
Is anomalistic even a word? I didn't even check.
Yeah, of course it is.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't be
Come
surprised.
on now.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Words are important. Did you specifically pick your Twitch streamer name because of the words it means?
Absolutely. But my name is Sybil.
Oh.
That is
because Spectral means the appearance, and Sybil means the soothsayer or the predictor, the appearance of the predictor, of the soothsayer.
I know. My mom had a really good time picking my name.
Oh, I was supposed to be Victor was my mom's name for me. And when she was in the hospital and drugged up after having me, my dad put his name on my birth certificate, so I became John.
How 1950s of your dad.
In the 70s.
Yeah.
Wow. Not that. I am old man Tenney, but not that old.
All right. Well, welcome to Twitch. This is the frontier of online entertainment and my liminal world of cybermancy. Have you ever been to Twitch before?
I have. My friends had a show called Rock Lobsters.
Oh, okay.
And I would go on there and I would try and play video games.
Really? You play video games?
Oh, no, I would try. So like they made me play a Bigfoot like first person shooter that I was bad at. But mostly I just wanted to play Space Invaders off of an Atari 2600.
Do you remember the name of the Bigfoot game?
No, maybe Bigfoot.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I think my mic is low. Is that true, you guys? Is my mic really low now for some reason? I don't know. Everything, as soon as you come on, everything goes wrong. It's the most chaotic, without reason, things go wrong. It's pretty okay. It's good. All right. No matter how many times you try to check. So.
That's the future of streaming. It's the best.
This is the future.
90% of the time saying, can you hear me? Can you see me? Is this all right?
It's basically just a digital seance. I mean, there's like 100 ghosts here right now. At least.
Digital ghosts.
So this show is complete improv. I turned off all the alerts to try to keep you safe. It might be fun, but it's a lot, and you also can't hear them. So it would just be weird if you just saw me getting totally assaulted by sights and sounds and I have to fight my way out of it. So I turn them off during our time so we can have a line of thought.
So you won't know who gifted subs?
Oh, I will know, but it won't make any sounds like farts or whatever they like to do over
You know,
here.
you know what? I said that not knowing if that was really a thing.
Oh, it's absolutely a thing. Yeah.
I don't know. I Twitch a couple times, 4 times. I don't know.
It's crazy over here. Yeah, I usually stream for 6 to 7 hours, talking the entire time, 3 times a week. So I have themes. I dress up in costumes. Sometimes I'm Sasquatch. But
Sometimes you dance to the
basically,
PGs.
oh, you saw that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had to get out the energy. You know.
I've seen a couple episodes of your show. I'm
You
not walking
have?
into this cold. I'm not walking into this cold. I saw
Oh.
smack being talked about me when you were interviewing Swan, that I wouldn't return DMs, and
Oh my gosh.
see.
I thought nobody ever comes to Twitch. I'm
No, I
turning red
watched your
now.
interview with Fred Anderson. Come
I'm
on.
turning margarita red now. Oh my god. Okay.
Are margaritas red?
They make me red. Cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
What are you drinking?
Coffee,
St. Patrick's coffee.
I guess.
Okay. All right. So, let's get down to business, okay? I've
All right.
been I've been following you for a long time without you knowing me, you know. No smack was talked because obviously. I've been following your show for about 10 years, and I'm just so happy to bring you on here because I love your approach to the paranormal. It's the most artistic approach for me in many ways. I've always had an interest in the paranormal my whole life, but I started using it in a way that informed a lot of my art practice since about 2012.
Mm-hmm.
I like the poetics, the philosophical nature, the pop cultural aspect of the paranormal, as well as the weird and the absurd. And I think that's the part where the comedy comes in for me.
Perfect.
I dress up in costumes and I shapeshift, and I think Twitch is the like perfect place for trickster energy. And there's a lot of that here and trolls, and I like to think of myself as a trickster, occupying this liminal space of Twitch. So I wanted to thank
Well,
you
and
so much for coming here.
oh no, I appreciate everything that you do. You're doing comedy and having fun with the paranormal, and all too often that is not a hugely shown aspect of it.
And I wanted to ask you why you think that is. Why is there no, you know, humor or anything like that going on in the paranormal industrial complex, as I call it?
It's going away, but I mean, it's because everything is run by old straight white men, and they think they know best, and they don't. And I say that as an old straight white man.
Yeah.
Like no one, when people meet me in person and I'm like a goofball and doing voices and like talking about ghost spiders and things like that, people are like, oh, we saw you on television and we're afraid to talk to you because you're like, I've always been presented as this real stoic, like they bring me in the middle of the night and I'm wearing my tie and carrying my like exorcist case and like, but I'm a goofball. I'm a old punk rock guy.
Yeah, that's pretty goofy.
Yeah, it was at one time.
Yeah. But you know, then again, I feel like also I've been in the art world for a long time. That's where I came from, and I used to study biology, so that was just like very much a different way of looking at the world, measuring the world. But I've always had this side that sort of pulled me towards the art world, and I could just never make sense out of that, I guess, until basically I started combining it with technology, because that's, you know, usually a mathematical way to sort of measure, and it's a tool to use to help you in the world, and combining that with art. But I've always been interested in the paranormal, and I think the paranormal and art practice in general have a lot in common.
Yeah, I mean, art is magic. It's creating something from either that which exists or that which doesn't exist and forcing it into reality. And like changing conceptual ideas about reality through something you create. Like, it's magic.
Yeah. It is magic. And I think a lot of people here probably don't. I mean, a lot of. Normally here, I try to basically fool everyone into looking at art in a different way or looking at the paranormal in a different way. And thinking about the supernatural and the paranormal. And for most people, I think when they think about the paranormal, they think of paranormal pop culture. They think of supernatural stuff. And witchcraft to them is just, CGI, basically. And maybe you can touch on this a little bit about how witchcraft and manifesting and art making is just, that is the thing. That is the magic. And I mean magic with a CK, not illusion. But
we do magical things. We do magical things every day. We don't necessarily see the supernatural, the paranormal, because it happens so frequently and so commonly, and it's so ingrained in our lives that we don't even recognize it as magic anymore.
Yeah.
That what we're doing right now is magical, right? Like, you've talked about it before on shows. Like, this is weirdly, we're just talking to light glitches, and somehow or another we're able to communicate through space and time, even though we're not near each other. I heard when you were interviewing Swan talking about, when you watch, if you watch a large scale ceremonial ritual, and I talk about this at my lectures, you have a large scale ceremonial ritual. You have an elder with a grimoire surrounded by the initiates who do what the elder says on a piece of hollowed ground that's covered in arcane symbols with chalk and numbers and letters, surrounded by the uninitiated who chant and sing in unison. That's a fucking sports game.
Yeah, religious experience.
That's a football game, though. You have a coach with a playbook telling the players what to do on a hollowed piece of ground with chalk and symbols, surrounded by the uninitiated who go, hoo-ha, and then they all think that they're affecting a desired result on a field. That's magic.
Yeah. I remember one time I was sitting at a bar in Las Vegas, and I was telling somebody the kind of thing I was interested in or whatever. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't really believe in ghosts. I don't really believe in all that stuff." And then, I don't know, 20 minutes later, he's talking about how every time he sees a red cardinal hopping around outside, it's his father communicating to him. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Don't believe in ghosts. All right.
It's one of the hard things that makes when you have a group of people who are trying to qualify and quantify supernatural phenomena.
Yeah.
Explaining to them that the supernatural and the paranormal exist in a place that is personalized, and so it's not reproducible phenomena. That guy really might be having a paranormal experience with a red cardinal feather.
Yeah.
Someone else can walk down the street and see a bottle cap, and that's a message from their grandmother. That's not things that you can test over and over again. It's not something that is repeatable. It's individualized, and I think for a reason, because it's goofy. The universe, we're talking about art, the universe has only ever shown me that it creates and destroys and creates. So, like, the best way for me to embody the universe that I've been shown is to create and destroy, move on, and create again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I'm doing the magic of the universe.
And I guess that's the only truly the way you learn is the mistakes you make, or just by that catalyzation of creation and destruction is the only way you really get new stuff. Yeah.
So write funny books and make funny stories and do funny things and have weird friends.
Exactly. And you're a painter and a musician. What kind of paintings do you do?
I do little like blobby monsters most of the time. So they're just kind of shapeless. They start as a doodle and then they end up with eyes and tentacles and pseudopods. And every now and then I'll paint little brush stroke ghosts. I rarely will paint. I've only taken one art class in my whole life, which was when I was I think I was 12. And my family went to Florida on a vacation, and they let me go to a Bob Ross school of painting. And I didn't meet. I wasn't taught by Bob Ross, but he came into the class and he had like a squirrel in his pocket and let us like meet his squirrel.
Like
And
a
that
real
was way
one?
more. Yeah, real squirrel. It was great.
Wow.
That's the only thing I really remember. So I don't really do landscapes. I have, but it's mostly monsters, blobby monsters. Sometimes I make them in 3D.
Like stream of consciousness, you kind of start out with an abstract thing and make it into something familiar.
Yeah, sometimes, rarely, I will make them into puppets so I can have them exist in this realm with me.
Like sock puppets, or do you like? Because I have
Want to
sock
see one?
puppets. Yeah,
Want to see one? Hold on, I'll put him
yeah.
on.
I'll show you
I'll
my
wake him
sock.
up.
I'll show you my sock
I'll wake.
puppet.
I'm waking up Boggy.
Okay.
Uh-oh. God, here we go.
Oh my God! Wow, it's Starch Madness. That's amazing.
All right. There's a guy.
What is it made out of?
Foam and latex and other things, but there he is.
Is that real moss?
Yeah.
Amazing. This is
So
okay.
sometimes they turn into puppets.
This is mine. Okay, hold on. Let me dig it out really quick. Where is he? Here we go. Okay, here we go. This one is near and dear to my heart. I've also got me as a puppet. So, but this.
Oh, the puppets are gonna meet. Oh, that's a good one.
He's even got little googly eyes. Huh? Look at that! We've got puppets!
Look at that. They're meeting. Who knew this was going to happen?
I know. And then I've got me.
Oh, that's you?
That's me. So I have like...
The puppet has... The puppet of you has a puppet of you?
I'm fine, I swear. Yeah, I have me, and then I have death, and then me, and then it's like death and the maiden. Like, oh, you know.
And when you're not streaming, they have conversations and have adventures.
It's a full-on therapy session when I need it. You know, I have to consult my mortality. I have to deal with my mortality somehow. To personify death is easier, I find.
Yeah, so my paintings are just stream of consciousness.
Okay. Most of my paintings are just actually very realistic portraits. I have no imagination when it comes to painting somehow.
I draw, sometimes, I mean, a lot of the times I'm trying to find one. So here's a drawing of one of the spooky monsters.
Oh, wow. That's great. So when do you feel the moment is like time to expel a monster?
It just sits on my desk next to me. And when it starts to happen, it starts to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they all get names. And then they also sometimes are unhappy with how they look. So then they have to like be destroyed.
And what's the story behind the pencils that you use? Because I think Nerdifer, I think she's one of your pates. I think Nerdifer tells me you have a special tool you like to use.
Yeah. So everything, like over the years, we always talk about manifestation and intention when we're doing magic. And so over the years, like as I've been drawn to certain aspects of my life, I always find things that fulfill a kind of magical purpose in my life. So I draw a lot. And so my favorite pencil is called a Blackwing 602 pencil.
Okay.
And when they were first developed, they were used by like John Steinbeck and Charles Schultz.
Oh.
And so the pencils come with the intention kind of inside them because they've collectively been used by people who are smarter than me and more creative than me. And so I get these pencils that are loaded with pre-intention, which I think is kind of cool. Same thing with my chalk. There's a type of chalk called Hagoromo chalk, which is the only chalk, well, it's the majority used chalk by most mathematicians and physicists, because mathematicians and physicists believe that when they use that chalk, they can't write a false theorem.
Wow. Wow.
So when I do magic, I use Hagoromo chalk because it's already preloaded with a bunch of good intention.
I'm trying to think if there's anything like that that I use. I can't. Something that is imbued with a past already. I guess I don't have any sort of like ritual object that I use to create something. But I also
Do you
wanted
have ritual? Do you have
Oh.
ritual that you do every day?
Well, I had the question that I for you that was, what's the difference between ritual and habit? Do I have, I mean, besides just like I guess that's the moment that everybody has their coffee, right? And they sit down and they drink their coffee and they think about all the things they have to do. I guess that's the closest thing I have to doing like a daily ritual. However, I do want to get more into awareness of the changing equinoxes and seasons and stuff. And now that I live in a forest, I'm becoming, more inseparable from that. But before, when I was living in a city, it was kind of hard to do that. But I wanted to ask you, what's the difference between a ritual and a habit?
I mean, habitual happenings are mostly at an unconscious level, right?
Yeah.
You're just going to do that. I've been smoking this whole time without even really thinking about it. That's a habit. Where a ritual is kind of a predefined, I'm going to do this. There's an intention and a thought behind doing it.
Yeah.
And you can turn a habit into a ritual. Like my morning ritual is so I make my bed every morning. And part of my morning magical ritual while making my bed, because I realized like I'm throwing my arms up in the air for the sheets and like straightening things, I take a moment of that habit of making my bed and I turn it into ritual by reaffirming how lucky I am to have a safe place to sleep, acknowledging there are people who don't have a safe place to sleep. And then in that moment of habit, it becomes ritual because I'm being mindful of what I'm doing and how lucky I am to have it. So it becomes a magical practice.
Right. I guess it's the intention.
Yes.
And what is the difference between artistic practice and ritual for you?
That's a good question. I guess there's a blending, a kind of the habit and the ritual that becomes magical in the sense that when I'm drawing, I will unconsciously start to do it because it's a habit.
Right.
But then once I realize I'm doing it, it becomes ritual because then I start to put intention into it. Same thing with playing music. For some reason, I will pick up a guitar and start playing guitar and then realize I'm playing a guitar, and then I'll start to move my fingers in a way that becomes ritualistic and habitual at the same time. Hoping that I will become inspired, right, in the spirit to create something and then say, oh shit, where did that come from? Which is the hope when I draw or write music or do anything creative. I hope at some point, I don't know how I got to that point of creating that thing.
The divine frenzy.
Yes.
Because there's a weird sort of interplay between intention, conscious receiving, unconscious receiving, finding something linear within that. So for me, like, that's one of the weirdest parts about doing something intentionally, calling yourself an artist, whatever, that there's just this weird interplay of receiving something that's outside of you, dealing with that, sitting down intentionally to receive something that is not intentional. It's totally bizarre. And
yeah,
that's
go ahead.
Well, no, that's the part for me that's just so weird. On one hand, I live a rational life, like an expected life, this sort of thing. And on the other hand, and I dismiss some things, I dismiss, like, for the most part, I've never had like a paranormal, like a really scary paranormal thing that most people would write stories about, or an encounter with a ghost. I've never had anything like that, but I have had a lot of encounters with synchronicity and just the things that happen when you follow your intuition. So on one hand, I'm completely dismissive of this sort of way of thinking, but then on another, I completely adopt it for making art and, for example, streaming on Twitch and doing all these improv things and just going with the moment. So it's just, is this what it's like? Like, help me make sense of it. Is this just what it's like? Just the balance between like stability and just totally bonkers art creation? Because I haven't figured it out. I'm 37 and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing either.
Okay, it's not just me. All right.
No, but I'm glad that it's one of those things, because for years at my lectures I would always tell people, like, if it's safe, like, go and do something weird. If the universe taps you on the shoulder and says, let's go have an adventure, go have an adventure if it's safe, right?
Yeah.
And so then, like, years later, because I did stand-up comedy for a few years, and so I started rolling with a bunch of comedians and improvers and stuff like that. And then you realize that the classes they teach in improv are all kind of magical practices, right? It's like saying yes and is a huge part of improv, right? And so here I am for years talking about the paranormal, telling people to say yes to the universe. And then I meet this whole other group of creative people doing comedy, and their mantra is like, always say yes. And you'll get to these weird divine places of high madness.
Yeah. Why do you think that there's so many creative artistic types that are interested and drawn to the paranormal world?
Oh, I think it's because people are willing to, there's a large group of people who are willing to admit, like, that all of this shit is completely bonkers and no one has a fucking clue. So in the limited amount of time I have, I should do as much strange shit as possible, or try to attempt to do like as much weird shit as possible. If this is my one go around, like, I'm going to make puppets and I'm going to dance and I'm going to sing and I'm going to make music and just, again, yes-anding the universe.
Right. It's so difficult to do that sometimes, because at other, you think sometimes that you're being like, I don't know, the rest of society or whatever, like total normies are just like, what are you doing? You're just acting like a kid forever. But then again, it's like, why not?
Yeah, and kids, again, in my lectures, one of the things I talk about is children are natural magicians. Like, they talk to trees and talk to dogs and talk to the sky and talk to the wind, and they ball up their fists and make it the thunder like come, and it works. And we all kind of remember it from when we were children. Like, you would talk to a dog and have a nice conversation with a dog, and then you kind of grow up and you are told that dogs can't talk or cats can't talk. But there's still a part of you, if you have a dog or a cat, there's still a part of you that recognizes you used to communicate with it. And so you come home from work. Yeah, you come home from work and you're like, how was your day, buddy? And then you sit and wait for a response. And then, even though no words are said, you respond as if you've heard a response. You're like, oh, wow, that sounds really cool. Let's go get you some food.
Oh, are you so happy? I bet you're so happy.
Yeah, it's such been a good day. I bet you saw a squirrel. You saw a squirrel? Like that. Yeah, that's the childlike magic that we lose as we get older. And I think that creative types and artists and musicians in all of their forms, like, recognize that there's that part of them, magic rituals. We have to turn in a circle 3 times, and little kids, just put them outside. They'll spin for a fucking hour.
Yeah.
Like, they know the magic before it's taught to them.
Yeah. And all the potions that you make. Like, I made so many potions. I made so many potions.
I made so many potions out of gutter water.
Oh, yeah. Just crushing up flowers, adding sugar, just getting real sticky.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Of course.
So
chewing on bark. You grab a stick, it becomes a magic sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, because all of these things, like, why do we stop doing it, though? Why is it weird? Why is it not cool to just go out and whisper a message to a moose? Why is that weird?
I think, honestly, as I self-reflect on my journey, I think it's because I think one person has fucked it up for all of us. Am I allowed to swear on Twitch?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I think
My
one
mom tells
person
me to stop swearing so much, but I can't listen to her all the time, you know?
I think one person probably fucked it up for all of us in our lives. At one time, you were doing something lovely and joyful and magical, and one of your friends either said you were strange, said stop it, said don't do that, said that's dumb. And that was the first time someone said that to you while you were doing that lovely, magical, innocent, wonderful
Yeah.
thing. And it fucked you up for the rest of your life.
Yeah. They were probably hot.
Probably.
That's probably why.
Or it was your parent or your authority figure. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Don't do
or
that, that's dumb.
there's a time and place and now you're too old now or something, you know. Think about what you want to
Yeah.
do with your life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the just horrible normal lives that they were living. They were doing the best on their journey.
Yeah.
Best
Everybody's
best
just
they
doing
could.
their best out here.
Do the best with the tools that you have.
Okay, so I've got I've got a lot of questions, but I'll start with this one. Getting really serious.
Uh-oh.
Are there any trends or patterns you've noticed in the types of paranormal phenomena people report experiencing historically in the present day? Like, how do you think that the paranormal has at least changed since, you know, Spiritism or the Victorian period or whatever into what it is today or over time? Because for me, I love to talk about the paranormal as a sort of through like an anthropological sort of microscope. I think it's amazing, but not necessarily because I not necessarily because I love Mothman. It's because I just love that it exists. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's changed very much.
Okay.
I mean, the window dressing has changed, but it's
Yeah.
still just people, like for ghost hunting, it's still just people sitting in dark rooms trying to talk to spirits. That's exactly the same as it's been for, at least in modern ghost hunting terms, the past 120 years, 130 years. It's the same thing. Try people putting devices together. You know, now they have batteries in them, but 150 years ago,
Yeah.
you had like a plate of mercury with a pendulum hanging over the top. Like people were trying to make equipment. So I don't think it's changed that much.
Okay.
The obviously with the creation of the internet, information exchange changed
Yeah.
the way that it's hard, right? Because the one thing that did happen was the way people investigated became, for a while, it's loosening now, but it became very like people saw on television people ghost hunting, and then
Yeah,
that
that's
was
the
the way.
thing.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the only way to ghost hunt for like 15 years.
Yeah, it's sort of like the paranormal pop culture, the ghost hunting. It eats itself, and that it needs
Mhm.
itself to sustain itself. And it's through the lens of paranormal pop culture that it sustains itself. And I just think that's so fascinating because I'm out to hunt the ghost hunters. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm after them.
I think it's funny that there's this, it also does this thing too, which I've noticed probably over the past 20, 25 years, is that people will watch popular culture, how ghost hunting or paranormal research is portrayed on television or in big media. They will get super into it because we all have kind of a fascination with these questions.
Yeah.
And then they'll jump real hard into it for like 3 years, realize it's not like it is on television, and then they'll become like diehard skeptic atheists, and none of it's real because it didn't work like that for me.
Right. So they just totally negate all the high strangeness and they're just looking for, like, they don't realize how boring ghost hunting actually is because
Right.
it's all post-production.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
Because when you watch a show, again, because I talk a lot about behind the scenes of making paranormal
I
television.
want to know
But
so much, you know.
yeah, whatever you want to know, I'll tell you. I have no secrets. I'll break any fucking contract I have with a network. But like when you film a television show is with commercial breaks taken out. It's only 44 minutes long. You
Yeah.
spend a week filming it. You usually have anywhere from 2 to 3 cameras filming for 10 hours a day. So you have 500-600 hours worth of footage, and it gets edited down into 44 minutes.
Crazy.
And so like it's crazy. So if you show up at a place on a Monday, nothing happens. Tuesday, you hear some footsteps. Wednesday, nothing happens. Thursday, you get an EVP. Friday, nothing happens. Saturday, a window slams. Like only 3 things have happened in 6 days. But then when you watch the 44-minute show, it's like footsteps, EVP, window slam, all in 7 seconds. And then people are like, holy fuck, that place is haunted, not realizing you sat there for a week to maybe get 3 things.
And I'm always looking for the mistakes. I'm always looking for the different clothes, the different cuts, like how many people are filming, wait, how many people are there now? And then I'm always looking for that stuff. No paranormal things happen in the bathroom. Doesn't happen while the crew is eating. You know?
A lot of that stuff gets edited out. It's really crazy. Like if something there have been shows I've worked on where stuff has happened in bathrooms and it doesn't make the cut.
Really?
It's like that's the still, even on ghost shows, the taboo is like showing like something happening in a bathroom. Because someone might talk about poopy or pee.
Why can't we talk about paranormal poopy peas?
I don't know. It's a part of it. You will go into places and people say like, oh, it smells like sulfur. Like really, sometimes you'll go into a place and it smells like farts. And then like someone will say, just say it doesn't smell good in here.
It's like my stream.
You can't even talk about paranormal farts.
Yeah, and we're supposed to expect that ghosts are wearing the same clothes they died in and that they're just out there in the spirit world not farting or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Do ghosts wear underwear?
For all intents and purposes, they have to. You can't
this is a
choose
question,
not to wear underwear.
It's a question that a child asked me 20 years ago, and I'm still thinking about it. If a ghost has to manifest their clothes, like if it has to, that would take energy. First, it takes energy to manifest a form so that it bounces light so that we can see it. They're expending extra energy to manifest clothing on top of their form. But then are they also manifesting underwear, which we wouldn't see, expending the energy to do that, but you wouldn't wear clothing without underwear. So yes, probably ghosts are wearing underwear.
Yeah, and imagine the just complete bewilderment that a ghost man from the 1850s would have towards a female investigator wearing pants, you know?
Right.
Shocking.
If they're stuck.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing too. Like you might go into a location where, oh, there was a, young person who passed away in this building. They were 9 years old or whatever. And that was like 100 years ago. And so like you assume that they stayed 8 years old. Like now they're 108 and you're still like asking them like, you want to roll a ball across the floor. So is their mentality, their psychology stuck too?
It's like vampires. They got turned at 8. Like, they've been alive for 500 years.
Right.
You can't get anything past them anymore. They're just because they look like they're kids. It's like Andy Milonakis. You can't get anything past him.
Can't get anything past him.
So,
but I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Like nobody knows. Nobody has any good answers. Nobody knows shit. Don't be a dick. That's my mantra. Right? Like this is all about discussing ideas with each other, coming up with crazy hypotheses and theories and discussing it and having fun while doing it.
Yeah, and Spectral Sybil, I love to talk about ghosts and they're endlessly fascinating. A lot of people come into the Twitch chat. I talk about ghost hunting a lot, and they love to tell me that ghosts aren't real. And then I say, well, is love real? And then they don't have a response for that. And then, I don't think that believing in ghosts matters. I think that they're relevant. I don't necessarily think that they're dead personalities floating around. But I do think that they're relevant, and for whatever reason, that they're shape-shifting, that they're mirrors, that they're metaphors, whatever you want them to be, I believe that you believe it. And for me, the interesting stuff isn't necessarily ghost hunting. It's seeing the process of which that you think that you can hunt a ghost, because that is basically for me re-enchanting the world, looking for the sacred. It's a modern phenomena in terms of using scientific equipment, I think, in how we see it now with the meters and the whatever. But I also think that aspect of it changes with the times. Like before hunting ghosts, you would think a lot about electricity and electromagnetic frequencies, and I think now we're like a sort of data
Yeah.
driven world. So I think maybe our approach to ghost hunting is also changing with that we sort of think of them as some sort of like data from the past that we can mine if we have the right computer or something, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting too because like so I don't use a lot of equipment. People who have been on ghost hunts with me know this. Like if I do use a recorder, I still use analog tape recorders because
Nice.
I find it fascinating that like so for as long as cameras existed, you have people catching photos of ghosts on film. Then
Right.
for as long as audio recorders with cassette tapes, people were allegedly catching ghosts on audio tape. And then as soon as a new technology comes, like digital cameras and digital recorders, people stop using the old technology. But no one ever figured out if the old technology was actually working, if it was actually
Mm.
doing something. They just moved on to the next thing and it
Yeah.
seemed to work. It seemed to work as well as the old thing. So like an analog recorder, right? It's just ferromagnetic tape and a magnet, and then I make a sound. So the waves of my voice transfer to the electromagnetic tape through the magnet. That's how tape recorders work, right?
Yeah.
But a digital recorder has a chip inside of it that is constantly measuring air pressure, looking for variations in the air pressure changes, and then through the chipset creating a voice. Like those are two totally
Mm-hmm.
different concepts. So to say, oh, it's always worked on this thing, it should work on this thing. Why would you think that? Why would it work on both things? It's two separate phenomena.
Yeah. Do you think that's maybe because like a lot of technology is so far away from common understanding that the devices just seem magical? Like a cell phone is just sort of magical. I can't tell you how it works. So you kind of just like, well, here's this magical computer that knows everything. Why not search for the afterlife using it? Maybe that's why. It's just inherently magical, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that we have all of this stuff, then we don't know how like there are very few people who know how it work, I think, um, at a deep level.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another magical tool. I have this device that allows me to communicate with ghosts. Like, why not? It allows me to communicate with everybody else across the planet. I think
Yeah.
it's weird that it's only been in the past. This is something I've had discussions about with friends. I think it's weird that in the past, like it's only been in the past 5 or 6 years that people have started dreaming about their cell phones.
Mm.
You would think that the amount of time we spend on cell phones, they would have appeared in our dreams really quickly. But most people still have
Yeah.
never had a dream where they're using their cell phone.
I've had a dream. I've had a lot of dreams using my cell phone, but not to the extent of the time I've spent screaming in horror at nothing inside my dreams, you know?
Right.
Like vastly different amounts of time.
Yes, but it's strange. It's like our brain, it's like our deeper understanding and deeper consciousness had to catch up to the technology. Like we were using this thing all the time, and our brain was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And so for a decade, people didn't dream about their cell phones. And now it's finally getting to a point where their brain is like, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah, and you said once in I don't remember which interview was that it's maybe because it's just a smooth piece of glass that there's no tactile thing
Yeah.
when you receive information you're just doing this over and over again.
Yeah. Your brain doesn't know you're touching anything. It just thinks you're touching a smooth piece of glass, even though your brain is receiving all this information. And so since
Yeah.
there's no tactile response to it, your brain doesn't really store it as, oh, this is something important. I need to, like, I found an acorn on the ground to eat. That's important. I touched it. I ate
Yeah.
it. I
I
tasted
smelled
it.
it.
I smelled it. I hid it
That
under the ground.
Yeah, that reminds me actually a long time ago, I think like 2014 or something, I made this series of just like hand gestures that were supposed to be like sort of magical like hand gestures that you use with technology. You zoom in, you scroll, you whatever. And it was just like this series of video recordings of just interacting with technology. And at the time, I didn't really know why I found that interesting. But I guess it's because of that reason that, like, we're getting in all of this information, just swiping, just commanding this device with little sigils on the screen or whatever. We're just receiving
But now that's
smooth
become a thing, though,
glass.
right? Now you
Yeah.
can control your phone and your computer by doing hand signals, right? Like you
Yeah.
can tell something to shut down, shut off, needs to be louder, just like hand signals. So it did
Yeah.
evolve into that.
Yeah, this is like it's conducting a little magical ritual. And like I have this
Hmm.
camera, I have this camera that I use when I cook a lot of gravestone recipes and other sections of the show, and you can control the camera with your little hand signals, and it's just like it's so weird because it's like there's this little magical person just doing all the filming for you. It's
It's super
never gets
strange.
any less weird.
So then I saw a thing, what's your take on this? As someone who streaming for hours on end, endlessly,
Days sometimes.
days sometimes. I saw this weird fucking thing where it can replace your eyes so that you're always looking at the camera.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's like some software where it just like I think
Yeah.
Max knows about that where it just your pupils stay in a constant spot. It's because I'm looking around. I have three computer screens in front of me, and I've got like different little windows, and I'm reading chat, and I'm just like looking around all the time. And also the streams where I'm doing drawing and then I'm looking at a fourth screen, and then by the end I have a migraine because like my eyes are just like all over the place. So I can see that why that's important to.
But it's weird though, right? Because it's replacing, like, one of the things we always talk about is like there's something wrong when you watch CG generated stuff, or
Yeah,
like you're always like the eyes are fucking wrong.
the
And now
uncanny.
we're getting to a place where the computer program is like you're there, but it's now replacing your eyes.
Yeah, it is pretty weird. It's like big time uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, RTX has a filter. Yeah, I guess I can turn it on right now. I have the ability to turn on forever pupils. Straight
Weird.
ahead.
Weird. And then someday it'll just be you turn on Sybil and then you don't even have to be there.
Yeah, which is very necessary because these boobs aren't staying at this location forever. They're going downhill, so I need to record this as fast as I can to stay this fresh forever because it's only lighting really doing this for me. And a lot of people are doing the whole avatar, the whole digital avatar VTuber thing where you can just kind of create your own thing. I've got my voice as AI. So I've
Yeah.
got that going for me.
I just think it's weird when you talk about avatars and stuff. I will meet people at conventions and in investigations and stuff who I've interacted with online for years, but I've never actually seen
Yeah.
them. And then they'll come up to me and say like, "Oh, Tenney," and like go to give me a hug, and I'll be like, "Who are you?" And they'll tell me their name, but I've never known their name. I've only ever known
Okay.
their handles.
Hmm.
So it's like I haven't seen you. I don't know your name. We've interacted for 6 years. It's a very
Yeah.
weird moment.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people here like I've known them for 4 years and I don't know what any of them look like.
That's really strange, right?
It is. It's like a ghost. Like their image lives in my head. I have like this sort of like fuzzy thought about what I think they might look like.
But they know what you look like and what you sound like.
They know
They
everything
know. They
about
know
me.
everything.
It's
Yes.
totally weird. This is the weirdest job you can have. I think definitely one of the weirdest jobs you can have.
I think it's good though. Like doing podcasts, doing streams, being open with your weirdness, talking about everything. I think that actually is really good because I think that's how
You
we
hear
used
that,
to
Mom?
communicate with each
You
other.
hear that, Mom?
It's how we used to communicate with each other. We used
Yeah.
to know all of each other's bullshit and weirdness.
Yeah. And it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun. Let me have fun for fun sake.
Let me Let me do magic. Let me look for ghosts and Bigfoot. Let me talk to UFO abductees.
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
I haven't done any of that, by the way. I've mostly started this before the pandy, so I haven't really gotten out there. You know what I mean? I haven't really been to events or met any of the weirdos from the last 4 years. I started with the Ghost Maintenance in 2019. Then the pandy happened, and now I'm just doing this. So I haven't really gotten out there to do any sort of stuff. You know? So
All your weird, magical, paranormal adventures are online.
I'm ready. I'm ready to get out there IRL, touch some grass, bro, as they say.
You're something I always try to impress upon people too is, like you were saying, you've never seen a ghost or anything like that. You have a lot of synchronistic experiences.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too that I think is really wonderful is that in best case scenario, this isn't a one-upmanship challenge. Like, I've talked to people who were abducted by aliens or say they've abducted by aliens like twice a week, every week for the past 10 years. Like, okay, that's great. That story isn't any more interesting than when someone tells me like that their grandfather contacts them through a cardinal feather.
Yeah.
Or that they've had a synchronistic experience. Like, if the universe is just giving you what you need as a weird experience, that's
true.
fine.
Yeah. It's probably
like I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of weird shit in the past 35 years. I've put myself in a lot of weird situations, so it happens. But like, I still think to this day and talk about this a lot. Like, when I moved into my house 13 years ago, I found an old yearbook, saw a guy in the yearbook I hadn't seen since high school.
Wow.
Now I have the internet, so I can look him up on the internet and find out what he's doing. I haven't thought about him in 13 years. And then I went to the grocery store and he was behind me in line at the grocery store.
Wow.
Like that's way more fucked up than a ghost.
True. But that's the kind of stuff I'm used to, you know? Like, just
right.
totally
we write
bonkers.
It off as, yeah, but we say, ooh, that's weird. And then we just go on with our day.
Yeah.
As if the universe didn't work for 13 years to put us in the same situation.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah. That is much cooler and definitely less shitting your pants worthy than seeing a ghost, and that's better for me, honestly, I think.
And when you see a ghost, I mean, I don't know where people see ghosts anyway. I mean, if you explore how vision happens, like I was saying, if ghost manifests enough to bounce light off of it so I can see it, like that's one manifestation. But like, we know that we can like see things without having to see them with our eyes. We see things in our mind all the time.
Yeah.
And so like, if my grandmother's ghost doesn't want to expend the energy to manifest herself in front of me, since she might be an energetic being living in an electromagnetic spectrum, like it might be a lot easier for her to just reach into my brain, find like an image that I have of her, flip that tiny neuron in my brain, and then I experience her visually.
Yeah.
Everything I've ever seen has been seen in my head. It's not seen with my eyes receive information, but my brain reconstructs it and then tells me it's outside of my head.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot more, is that it takes less energy to just bing, just turn on a little neuron than it does to just be like, hello, you know, when you're coming around the corner at night.
And then, I mean, so that it doesn't account for all ghosts, but it accounts for like archetypes. Like, if you don't have the image of a female spirit in a house, we might have like defaults. So it's like, oh, well, they've got that default woman in white. Like, I'll flip that switch.
Yeah.
Or they've never seen me, so they've got that default like silhouetted shadowy man form. I'll flip that switch. And then like, that's why you have cross-culturally around the world, you get shadow people and women in white.
Exactly.
It's almost like we have default images in our head.
It's like the movie Contact with Jodie Foster.
Sure.
It's like the aliens are like, right? Yeah, I'm using the form of your father because then you wouldn't shit your pants. And
right.
She's like, thanks
your brain
so much.
Wouldn't blow up.
Yeah. how kind of you. Thank you.
It's nice of them.
Yeah. What do you think people get wrong about the paranormal?
Um, demons.
Oh, I love talking about demons.
I think they get demons wrong. I think they get. I think they get the spookiness aspect of it wrong. I don't think it's that spooky.
Yeah.
Like, again, I think that's something burned into people's heads because television shows film at night because it looks spookier. And so then, like, everybody's like, oh, we can't look for a ghost at 4:00 in the
Right.
afternoon. We have to wait until it's midnight. And so then it's got to be spooky. And I don't think it's that spooky that often.
Yeah. I've been in a
And
cornfield
again,
at night, though, and I was pretty scared. Not of
cornfields at
ghosts,
night are no,
but
cornfields at night are spooky.
of boars. I heard something crunching around and I didn't like it.
There's a lot of things out there that don't know that you're its friend.
Yeah. I'm not worried about ghosts. I'm just worried about animals that are just like, what are you doing out here at this time of night?
Yeah, I want to pet a wombat really badly.
Oh,
But
so
like,
cute.
it probably doesn't want me to pet it.
They're so cute.
And I'm going to, people know this, I'm probably going to die from a bear attack because if I ever see a bear in the wild, like, I'm going to try and pet it.
I had a dream about a bear last night. Thanks for reminding me.
You were precogging this interview.
I was precogging and the bear was running straight at me and I was like, no, 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 buddy, no, no, no. And I can't remember what happened after that, but it was definitely running at me.
It ate you up.
Probably. It was like
But it was still your friend.
It was like that scene in the Reverend. What was it called? Revenant.
Revenant.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
father talks about having a revenant experience once because he slipped outside in the ice and laid in the snow for 8 hours by himself.
Wow. And
But he wasn't attacked by a bear.
And he didn't go to sleep because they say that's what'll get you.
Don't go to sleep. I'm probably going to go to sleep.
Same.
8 hours laying down. I got to go to sleep for a little while.
Yeah. Are you on those DGen hours? Like what time you wake up?
Oh, I woke up today because I had this. I woke up at 1 in the afternoon.
Oh, same.
So not that bad.
Same. Yeah.
I think I went to sleep at like 7 in the morning though.
Oh, you have like Twitch streamer hours. Do you ever think about streaming on Twitch?
I have a Twitch channel.
You do?
Yeah, there's just nothing on it because I don't know how to work OBS.
I'll help you.
I don't know.
I'll help you set it all
What
up.
would I do? Put on
you're-
alien sunglasses and dance around to the Bee Gees?
What's the screen? What's the channel name?
It's probably John E.L. Tenney.
Oh, okay. No,
Everything
seriously.
I do is just,
I will help you because you gotta be here for the future. You're future-proofing yourself if you come on here.
listen, this 100% honest here. I want to become irrelevant.
Oh, okay.
I am so sick. I am so sick of old white bald dudes
Yeah.
like in this space. Like, I want to be irrelevant. I'm fine with it.
There's not that
There
many
are
olds, though.
There's not a lot of olds, but there's a lot of white dudes talking about how much they know.
So, do you want to become like irrelevant? And because for the paranormal space, like, yeah, there's a lot of old bald dudes talking about the afterlife. But do you mean you want to become like? But maybe you can transition from that world into the virtual, and then then you got space to improvise.
Then I can like soft blur my lines
You can shapeshift.
and add my eyes always looking at the screen.
Yeah.
And blue, like, yeah.
With like those fake nails that just do this.
There are just so many people doing so much good work, and every time I like go up on stage to lecture, I feel like I'm filling up a space that is necessary. It should be given to someone else.
But also, you can't help what you are. You do the best that you can being in the meat sack that you are in.
Yes, I try and do as little harm as possible, but still, when I was in bands, right? Like, I always made me mad when my band didn't get a show because another band was friends with the club owner.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I started turning down my band started turning down shows because we would talk to younger bands who needed the stage time, who needed to like be heard. And that was a big ending point with my band. Because my band wanted to be rock stars.
What did you want to be rock star?
I think probably in my punk band, I didn't because fuck corporate
Right, you
capitalism.
can't want to be famous as a punk band.
Right. And then maybe for like a year in my rock band, I thought, oh, maybe we've got a shot. But then I immediately started doing like this avant-garde improv jazz band. And my other band got into a lot of problems with Kid Rock, who I grew up with. And
What?
oh yeah, you don't know this Kid Rock stuff?
No. But also, what instrument do you play?
Oh, I sing and play guitar.
Okay. What Kid Rock, though?
So I grew up with Bob, and he was putting out like his first rap albums while my band was doing our first rock album, and we were sharing the same studio and we were on the same label. And he was like paying for some of our studio time if I did sample tracks on like his rap albums. That's how kind of we got to know each other. And then my band had recorded a whole album and we broke up. So the album never got put out. But then Bob's next album wasn't a rap album. It was called Devil Without a Cause. It was his first rap album. So he took our rock album and just rapped over the top of it. And that's what made Kid Rock famous.
What?
Yeah. And then there were like friendships were lost and legal battles ensued. And he's a terrible person.
Well, I mean, we all knew that, but wow. What lore? What lore you have imbued us with?
And he still owes me $100 that I loaned him for drugs in the 90s.
Motherfucker. Of course.
That's a Kid Rock story.
Wow. Damn. That's it. Yeah, everyone is just like absolutely just aghast in the chat. Okay, wow. Oh wow. I mean,
he's just a bad person.
He literally what? Just go spill it.
No, like we were doing this thing while we had lawsuits going where he, instead of doing like his rap rock stuff, he would like live on stage just straight play the songs that we had recorded with our lyrics like on stage. And then we can't really do anything about that. But I see those live cassettes still come up like on eBay and stuff like that.
Unbelievable.
Not a great person.
I mean, it shows. You know, you ever just see that on people where it's just like the internal is made external in whatever sort of way, and they can be good looking, but they just suck inside, and then that just is reflected on their skin and their energy, and they just look like they suck, you know? And he just looks like he sucks.
Yeah, I don't think that living in that world does very much for people. Like, physically or mentally or psychologically, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, no matter how you look, if you're bright on the inside and happy, you look like a beautiful person, you know?
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to be a rock star for a year.
Hell yeah. It was the rug.
And then I was done. Then, like I said, then I formed like this weird improv band where I would wear a dress, and we would just show up and make up songs for the 30-minute sets that we had. And then we put out a record, and we went to the studio without knowing. You talk about the creative process. This guy was like, I want to record you. I think you're hysterical. And he booked us studio time without us knowing, and then called us the day before and said, you have the studio time I booked for you. And so it was only 2 people in the band. So me and the other guy went into the studio, and just improv'd like 9 songs, and he put out a record for it, and it sold thousands of copies. And then whenever we played shows, it was hard for us because we had to learn our own songs because we had made them up in the studio.
Oh, wow.
And then when people came to our shows, they wanted to hear those songs, but we didn't know those songs because we had just made them up.
Because you Frank Zappa'd that shit.
I guess. It was very weird.
Wow.
And then there were other aspects of the show too. We would have people dress up. We have there's a live show on YouTube of that band, and at some point, like, a guy in a shark outfit gets on stage and fights with one of our roadies, and then we throw dog food all over the stage, and it was very weird.
There's nothing you haven't seen, really. You've seen it all.
I don't think so.
You've seen so much.
I'm just an old guy who
How
says
old
yes
are
when the
you?
universe. 952. I'm 52.
52. Okay, not that old.
Not that old.
I mean,
but
I'm
I've
getting
cultivated,
up there, you know.
I've cultivated
almost
the
40.
idea that I'm an old man.
Well, I've cultivated the idea that I have massive crone energy.
I don't think so.
You know, I'm almost 40. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it a little bit. And, you know, 52 doesn't sound that far away anymore. So I still feel like I'm 25, you know? It's so, I don't think you're an old guy.
Oh, so you stopped at 25? I'm always interested at what people's brains, what age they'd stop at.
It feels
You
like a
stopped at
25. Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
like the moment I decided to go to art school, it feels like that's where that's where, not necessarily conceptually, but in terms of just like being aware of all my faculties is 25.
Yeah, I think mine is around 35. I think that's where I think I am.
35? Okay, so I've got 2 years on that.
But it's really weird to think about, like, at 52, like, what my parents were doing at the same age I am now.
Right.
Because I think, like, I would have been 27. So it's like if I had a 27-year-old right now,
Yeah.
I'd be out of my fucking mind.
I know. My mom
more than I
almost
already
had
am.
me. My mom had me in 2 years from now, and I can't imagine having me 2 years from now.
And then everything you would put yourself through.
Oh man, it's just it's so long and also so short, the life experience time.
That's why you have to do weird stuff with weird people.
Yeah. Okay,
That's why you need to turn your bed and making your bed into magic. That's why you need to still make potions with gutter water.
True. I need to be more manifestual, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, and something that I've been talking about recently is there's also this thing that I've been warning people about, which is manifestation.
oh, what's that?
So manifestation is like people will read a magical practice book, or they'll find someone magical online, and they'll start doing magic that person's way.
Oh.
And your magic it literally becomes infected with someone else's magic.
Mm-hmm.
And then people will be like, oh, why does it work so well for them and it's not working for me? And it's like, that's because 500 people are doing that person's spell.
Yeah.
And even when you do the spell, you're doing it, there's a little bit of you in it because you're the one doing it, but you're doing it in a way that the other person told you. So you're empowering that person. So your magic gets super infected by other people's magic and then disempowers the person themselves.
I'm going to think about that. Because that's like a really social media sort of virus sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I was thinking while I was over there, is this okay? How's this? Is this better?
See, no paranormal peeing or pooping. See?
No, not here. But while I was talking to Fred, I mean, I have become more afraid of going to the bathroom on a Wednesday at 3:30 a.m. and looking out the window, because I don't know what I would do if I saw a little gnome running by the window, because I look out the window and it's straight forest. So if there's going to be something, it's going to be there.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it is. A couple months ago, Mother Moose and Baby Moose were outside, walking around, and it was beautiful and just incredible. Just
That's
incredibly.
magical and wonderful.
It was Mama Moose and
I've
Baby
only
Moose.
I've only ever seen one moose in person. I would like to see more mooses.
I see them very often, and then I mean they just feel like they have a message, you know? It just feels like they I don't know, there's just something really magical about seeing a moose cuz it just feels like it just knows something, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's weird that they're big, giant, clunky dinosaur dogs and that they can walk through the
Yeah,
forest.
they are
They can
dinosaur
walk
dogs.
and they can kind of walk through the forest and be quiet.
Oh, I know, they're super quiet, and if they see you, then they don't make any sound anymore at all, and it's incredible. And like my ass walking around in the woods is just like you can hear me coming a mile away.
Yeah, we've lost touch with the magical moose.
Yeah, we have. I should really do more barefoot stuff in the woods. I should. But okay, my question was how do you think, because you're talking about magnifying witchcraft or you know in affectation, how do you think that the internet has changed the occult? Because I think this is one of the things that is how it's changed, like with social media and magnifying something, or just like internet activism.
Yeah, I think that it's obviously grown interest in witchcraft and occult philosophies. I just don't know if it's really pushed the idea of the individualistic nature of magical practices and occult philosophies. Like people read a book or follow a person who does things in a certain way, and even that person, if that person's being really genuine, they would say like, don't do this my way.
Yeah.
Like I try and tell people all the time, like if I wrote the reason I've never written a witchcraft or a magic book is because it would say like, do whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Bah, 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 the end. It would be like a 1-page pamphlet. I mean, I could show people my practices,
Yeah.
but I would be slightly afraid that my practices wouldn't just inform theirs, but would kind of infect theirs.
Yeah.
And so when I look at social media and I see people like this this spell or this witchcraft trend is like taking off and
Yeah.
thousands of people are doing the same thing, like I think that's a kind of detriment to the individualistic nature of a practice or a form of witchcraft or magic.
That's true, and I think I've been infected by that idea also. When I do something myself my own way, I've actually discredited myself in being like, oh, that's not really something that you would that's probably not something that's considered witchcraft, or that's probably not something, you know, I've had that sort of detrimental effect on the way I would choose to do something that I would say is personal to me, but then maybe doesn't make sense for anybody else. But I think that that actually is the beauty of it.
Yeah, like I remember specifically for me, like this is probably 30 years ago or so, but like the first time I was going to like draw a circle and like cast a magical spell. And as I was drawing the circle, I was like, wait, why am I drawing a circle again?
Yeah,
And then I kind of made it a blobby shape on the floor, which was much more funny to me that I was
right.
standing in this blobby shape that was only going to exist once, and then I would never be able to recreate that blobby shape. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought, oh, this is much more in the moment and making me much more aware of what I'm doing than just
Right.
going through the motions of like, I'm going to make a circle and then a candle's going to go there and then a candle's going to go there. Like I was letting the magical practice happen in the moment and become what it was meant to be.
Yeah. Well, that also goes to my next question is just like why is everybody so serious? You know, why is this like a way to sort of like because it's a taboo thing to do that everybody has to take it very seriously and they have to overcompensate in terms of just like methodology, and they have to make it science-y in order for people to care about it.
Yeah, I think people just want, I mean, I would love for there to be data that proves all of this is real beyond the shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
But like, it's what we're doing is super wonky. Like, we're talking to sky people and invisible people and using our mind to move things and discern the thoughts of like, it's all fucking weird and crazy and goofy. And I feel like when people get bogged down in the seriousness of it or the data collection of it, that stuff is great, but it's never, unless it's done at a wide scale version, which I don't think it's ever going to happen. I point out, like, if you wanted to collect data on a haunted location, there's a place called Waverly Hills, right? And so notoriously, allegedly haunted, and someone is there right now doing a ghost investigation. I mean, it's happening every single day, every hour of the day, someone is there. And this has been going on for years. If people were really into data collection, we would have all gotten together and said, listen, we would have a huge data set right now on Waverly Hills if people collected like atmospheric pressure, humidity, temperature, time of day, phases of the moon, what time of year it was. By now you'd have this giant logbook and you might be able to correlate events. But like, that's no fun, right?
Right. That's no fun.
That's no fun.
And maybe they're just creating their own haunting.
Yeah.
With all these people going there saying it's haunted, maybe, I mean, like, context is everything for that sort of thing, I think.
If a ghost leaves energy behind, allegedly, or supposed to leave energy behind, like if you go into a location and there were some people in there the night before who were like kicking the walls and screaming at the top of their lungs because they wanted to be attacked by a ghost, and then you go in there like 7 hours later and you're like, oh, there's some really violent energy in this place. Like, how do you know you're not just picking up on the people that were there 7 hours earlier?
Yeah. Do you think cemeteries are haunted?
I think everywhere is haunted. I think that if any place is haunted, the only haunted place I really know about is Earth, and it seems to be all over the Earth.
Yeah.
I think cemeteries, like, if there is some association with spirits and entities and ghosts to memory and emotion, then cemeteries would be a great place for them to kind of hang out in because it's constantly replenished with memory and emotions.
Yeah. Because I would think that it wouldn't really be fun to hang out with your stupid dead body.
I don't think so either. I think that probably what happens, if I had to speculate, and I am, and I have to, I would probably think that there's like ghosts in the cemetery because they were wandering around a neighborhood. They didn't have anywhere else to go. And then they saw a place where people are going all the time and leaving behind emotional and psychological energy and memory. Yeah. And they're like, oh, I'm going to go hang out there instead of just like floating down this empty street by myself.
That's a good one.
Like, I did the math once before, and I can never really remember how I did the math because I'm bad at math. But if you talk to I'm terrible at math. You want to hear my old man joke about math real quick?
I'm bad at business, bad at math. Yeah?
I'm bad at 3 things: sports and math.
It's a dad joke.
Yeah. Anyway, if you talk to anthropologists will tell you that our best guess is that since there have been human beings on the planet, there have been 100 billion deaths on the planet. So let's get rid of half of them because, again, I'm bad at math. So 50 billion people who became ghosts, because everybody has the potential to become a ghost.
Yeah.
It's a lot of ghosts. Now, if you take into account that there's only a certain amount of square footage of land masses that are habitable to humans where humans have lived, and you break down habitable land mass acreage by 50 billion ghosts, that means that there's like a ghost per acre. So Like most people have lived in common places. So then you start to like look at population densities and you end up with like 11 ghosts per acre. So if any place is haunted, every place is haunted.
We're just like swimming in ghost cheese. It's just like
They're
dense ghost cheese.
Yeah, they're just everywhere.
And not to forget all those slaughtered food ghosts out here roaming around, you know?
That's the other thing. So that's just taking into account human deaths. So if
Yeah.
we take all sentient living creatures and then add their ghosts into it, then like there's, I mean, I did a lecture last week and I was talking about this couple who thought that they had a demon in their house because they were getting pushed all the time and stuff was being knocked around their house and things were being broken and they were getting big scratches on their shoulders. And I tracked back the history of the house and all the location owners and the previous owners of the home. And I couldn't find any reason why there would be this evil demon in their house doing these terrible things until I found the family who had lived in that house who had a Great Dane who passed away in the house. And then I realized like it wasn't a demon, like they've got a Great Dane in their house, like knocking shit over and jumping up and putting its paws on their shoulders. And so they got the dog dish from the Great Dane from the previous family, put it in their house, and then everything stopped. Like the dog was just hungry.
My God, that explanation is so much better.
It's so much better.
Of course. Of course. I love that so much more. Why doesn't anybody ever do any ghost hunting investigations in slaughterhouses? You know, that would apparently be the most haunted place on the planet, I think, is a slaughterhouse and stuff like that. Like, what happens to all the cow ghosts? Do we not care about those? What happens to all the dinosaur ghosts? Do we not care about those? Why don't people
That's
care
right.
about that?
I don't know. And it's a question I ask constantly. When this is years ago, but I was having lunch with Amy Bruni, who's on Kindred Spirits and was on Ghost Hunters, and her daughter Charlotte asked me why there were no dinosaur ghosts, and I told Charlotte, why do you think we can't catch the Loch Ness monster? Like it's a plesiosaur ghost, and the reason you probably can't catch some of the Bigfoot is because they're probably caveman ghosts. Like
You just
they're
created a
all out there.
paranormal investigator right then and there, is what you did.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
Dinosaur ghosts, yes.
Yeah, and Bigfoot, I love the Bigfoot as a Neanderthal ghost theory. I think that's great. I love that.
Because people don't like spiders, I constantly point out, if we do believe that living things can leave ghosts behind, then if you kill a spider in your house, you didn't get rid of it. Now it's there forever. And like your house is filled with spider ghosts and centipede ghosts and fly ghosts and mosquito ghosts. And so it's just easier to put them outside or not kill them or put them someplace where they're not going to get smushed.
You're so kind. God.
The universe gives you weird stuff. If you're kind to small things, the universe rewards you.
What does it reward you with? Mosquito bites?
Immediate magic.
What does that look like? Because killing the mosquitoes. I'm killing them.
It takes many various and multiple forms, but when you save a small creature, and you show it kindness, you'll be shocked at how quickly you're rewarded with some kind of kindness toward yourself.
All right, I'll do it for spiders.
It is magical.
I can't make any exceptions for mosquitoes, but I'll do it for a spider, and I'll do it for you only because you said this. So, spiders, you're the next one I see. You're safe because they're waking up right now. It's getting warmer outside, so they're coming in, and I'm smashing them.
I used to have a friend when I was a teenager who would bring them in from outside.
Oh my God!
Like he was a goth. He was like a goth kid, and he wanted his room filled. He wanted his room filled with real spider webs, so he would go outside, and collect spiders, and bring them into his room, which obviously drove his fucking mom insane.
Oh my God!
But he did. He had the coolest spider webs in his room. Like they were great.
Like he's just got like black widows chilling behind his bed, like brown recluse.
You'd sit in his room and they'd just be everywhere.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, they're great. Sometimes they eat mosquitoes for you, and that's cool. But like, there's some really big ones over here that are just like inside your coat pocket or your sleeve when you put your coat on and the jacket. And then I black out, and then I lose consciousness, and I scream, and I fling it across the room. And I don't know. How do you not panic when there's a giant spider on you? Tell me.
I mean, you're the giant.
I know.
They're just the little baby. Is baby.
You're vegan also, right?
Yes.
Can you get any kinder?
Oh, I can do a lot better. I have a lot of difficulties on my journey.
I mean, I used to work in a vegan kitchen for a long time, but I'm not vegan, but you know, I know how to be, and that makes me so much worse, I think, is that
No, I think that being aware of what you're doing manifests in different ways too. I mean, I don't necessarily think everybody should be vegan. I just don't think they should, like, if you have an opportunity to skip a hamburger,
yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead.
for sure, because you know, I don't eat anything with hooves because they're just too much friend energy for me. And I don't know. There was a certain point where I'm like, it's like it's a corpse. I don't know how that it's just not appetizing, I guess, anymore. You know,
I
like,
I've always thought it was weird. Like, we know that pigs are really smart.
oh yeah.
Like, and I've always thought, like, they're pretty smart. Um, I always thought it was interesting. Like, if we found a pig on Mars, like something as
Mm,
big and as smart as a pig on Mars, we would spend billions of dollars learning to communicate with it to find out what its life was like on Mars, because it's an
yeah.
alien creature with a high intelligence level. We'd be like, oh, we should try and communicate. But since they're pigs on Earth, fuck it, just eat it.
Yeah, Elon Musk is gonna build a rocket. He's gonna go there and he's gonna implant the Mars pig, and it's gonna
Oh,
be great and incredible and amazing. But here, it's dinner. It's fine, you know.
hashtag Mars pig.
Hashtag Mars pig, baby. Woo! Do you believe in evil?
Oh, this is a controversial question. This
Because
is where we're going with this.
I have the same. I just know that I have the same opinion as you. I'm pretty sure. So that
What's
because
your opinion? What's your
this
opinion?
this ties into the whole demon thing, right? And I
Yeah.
think that there are certain I think there's a scale. I think just as it's raining, that doesn't mean that it's a bad day, right? Like I really enjoy biological horror for this sort of reason, that it just is, and we find that terrifying, but it actually is amoral, and you know, it is neither good nor bad. It is just the way that it is happening. And I think that I don't believe in evil. I also don't believe in black magic. I don't believe in white magic. I just believe in a certain scale, I
A
guess.
certain spectrum,
A spectrum, a scale, yeah, a spectrum.
a spectral spectrum.
A spectral speculum spectrometry. And
I don't think there's evil.
no, I don't think there's evil, but it's just you can't really say that because
It
people
gets
are like
because people will yell at you. I
there
know.
are, you know.
I know.
And here there's a lot of there's a very diverse community of people here. We've got Satanists, we've got Christians, we've got all sorts of people that believe in all sorts of things here. And I think for the most part, most people don't know what Satanists are even up to, and everybody thinks they're evil. There's like another round of satanic panic happening. There's a QAnon thing, whatever. But like, I don't really believe in in evil on a biblical scale, but on evil and also it's just the scale that it confuses me, right? I get caught
Yes,
up on this scale.
the sliding
The
scale
zoom
of
out of Earth. Is it evil if you zoom out far enough? You know?
right, because it's easy to like we as humans, like it's very beneficial for us to live in a world that is dualistic, that has
Yeah.
right and wrong, black and white, hot and cold, day and night. Like, but we know that there are infinite shades between all of those things,
Yeah.
that it's not just day or night, that there are fractions and infinitesimal moments leading from night to day. And so I feel like good and evil are the two dual sides that we look at things without realizing that there's this roundabout leading toward and away from.
Right. Like you wouldn't want to be judged accordingly at one moment of your life where you made a certain choice. Like you would have to be looked at in its entirety to even make that, because people are making good choices for the wrong reasons, wrong choices for the right reasons, all sorts of stuff.
Doing the best they can with the information they have, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why morality seems like such a human specific, human created aspect of this reality that we live in. And I think it gets in the way of a lot of I don't know, like manifesting your true self, I guess, because you're worried about whether it's good or bad or how people will think if you do it. Or and I especially see this a lot in sort of like Instagram witchcraft, the rule of
Mm-hmm.
three, and it's like a sort of karmic thing that anything you do will come back to you. And like on one hand, I dismiss that completely, but on the other hand, I mean, a lot of people that have a hard time in general seem to be fighting that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
I do.
It's a
Uh,
treacherous waters, but I thought I would talk about it a little bit.
yeah, I think it's important to talk about. I do think that, again, there's so much that goes into it. A person's life history, their psychology, their upbringing, their environment. And again, people have done terrible things in the name of what they believed was something
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
right? And people have done, I don't know, have people done good things in the name of something terrible? I think probably.
Probably.
Yeah. But I don't know, when I encounter people who tell me that there's like a devil or a demon, I really feel like that's just a failing of perspective.
Yeah, and I think it's also a personification of malice that maybe you create yourself, because I think demons are real, but in the way that they are real, that you can be haunted by something, by a choice, by a decision that you've made, by an action. So I guess that is the personification of that sort of thing haunting you. But in terms of
Hmm.
just like a little guy that that gets that gets really confused when you spill a bunch of beans in front of it and it has to recite alchemical things and geometry. I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
but I mean, again, I mean, just back to the like Great Dane demon, right?
Yeah.
Like it went from being an evil demonic thing to being like a friendly pup who just wanted food.
Yeah. Yeah, our
And it was
perspective's
the
all
shift.
wrong.
It was the shift in perspective. It wasn't the thing or the incident or the happening itself. It
True.
was the
Yeah.
it was it was the people experiencing it.
Yeah.
I know. I think that when I don't know. I guess when it comes to levels of rightness and wrongness, I kind of default to how much harm are you doing to yourself and others.
Like countable harm, like a parent in this life suffering in this world.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing something to yourself or others that's harming you or others, I kind of find that very bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess some people could write it off in a certain way of being like, it's for your own good, you know?
Right. But what are they saying that for?
Yeah.
And we'll never know that's the other problem too, right? Like so much of us is in our heads, which is why I said I think that things like this, like your stream and conversations like this are important because we just talk openly and like other people can understand, oh, maybe the things that are in my head that make me up, like I'm not alone in thinking this way about these things or even having these questions,
Yeah.
that there are people willing to discuss these seemingly hard questions in a seemingly shared reality. Because that's the other thing too, like we're all living in a seemingly shared reality. There are certain things we agree on, but how far do we agree on them?
Yeah. And I also think there's a reason that our parents taught us to not talk about politics or religion during dinner. And it's a thing that everybody talks about on the internet. And I think there's a reason that we shouldn't necessarily talk about those things because everybody has a different opinion on that. But now it's all out in the open and everybody's fighting on the internet.
Yeah, but I think that, I mean, as someone who grew up is it the majority of my life? Yeah, it's still the majority of my life. The majority of my life without the internet. It really does make a difference to be in person with someone, and you
Yeah.
can have difficult political, religious, social conversations, and I think they are far more impactful sitting across from the person.
Yeah. Yeah, we've evolved way longer that way than we
Yeah,
have looking at each other through a screen. I mean, there's other things going on in a conversation. There's smell, there's body movements, there's twitching fingertips and you can't see any of that or whatever, you know.
right. And your brain was meant to have all of that stuff, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
What are you twitching underneath the, what am I
I
hearing?
have I'm a fidgeter big time. I always have I have a secret object in my hands that I'm fidgeting with. Can anybody
I
guess?
smoke.
I apparently my mom told me this. Well, there's also photographic evidence of it. But when I was like, I don't know, one or two or three, I'm just sitting in my stroller, just doing this the whole time. Just can't stop moving the fingers. Just doing this, and I'm just like, and telling my mom later, I'm like, that's because I had nowhere to put it. I had all these things coming through me, and I didn't have anywhere to put it, and now I put it here. And I put it here and now I'm clicking. Like I just needed a fidget spinner when I was 2 because I don't know. And also when I take the psychedelics, it comes back. I've have really weird spider web fingertips going on, and I think it's all related. It's just
Ghost spider web.
I have to channel things through my hands. And
It's funny you say that because when I walk through an allegedly haunted location, I always tell people that my hands are my ghost finders because as I walk around, I will unconsciously start to do this. And
yeah,
then I'll know to go back. I'll know to go back to a room because my fingers got fidgety near that room.
I have the same thing. Like I start getting real picky with my fingers. I mean, I don't really destroy anything. I just get really like fidgety with my fingers. But I've done a couple of ghost investigations, and one has been in an art gallery, and one has been in a house that the girl I used to the ghost maintenance. We did a paranormal investigation in her house, which is also taboo. You never investigate your own house, right?
Go ahead.
And we we did a lot of artistic things, a lot of drawing, a lot of poetry, like paranormal poetry interpretations, some scrying we threw in there, and so I think these are just art finders.
Yeah.
Ghostly art finders, also the same. The
Yeah.
same thing
I
going
mean,
on.
I don't think people realize you have 10 magic wands and they're like right
Yeah.
at the end of your arms. Like a wand was
What's
just a way to direct and focus your finger.
Yeah, before the dagger, right? You're on a budget. Can't
Yeah.
afford a silver dagger. What's
I
the
mean,
pinky finger going on there?
what do you mean?
On
It's just a little dagger.
You got a little paint job.
Oh, that?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I get bored, I paint my nails.
Okay, just one or
I only got one done before we started doing this.
Okay, nice.
Usually my toenails are painted. They're not right now. I unpainted them last night before I took a shower.
Do you just like always one color or you change it up?
Change it up, whatever the day is calling for. Oh, it's time to paint my nails.
Nice. I like that. How do
I think
you
it harkens back. What? Go ahead.
No, you keep going.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, how do you start your day?
I
But
wake
making your
up.
bed?
Not the first thing I do.
Okay.
I wake up. I'm an immediate out of bed person. Jessica, my best friend, she needs a soft wake up for a couple hours.
Same.
She wakes up, soft wake up.
I
But I
love
wake
her. I
up.
love her.
I wake up. So I go downstairs. I make coffee. Go to the bathroom. Coffee's done. I have a super quick coffee pot. Like it'll make a cup of coffee in like 30 seconds. So I just go pee and then get my coffee. But I pour 2 cups. The first cup goes upstairs to my ancestor altar. They get the
Wow.
first coffee cup of the day.
Are you upstairs
And
now
then
or downstairs?
I'm downstairs now.
Okay.
So they get the first cup of coffee of the day. And then I will start to make my bed while drinking my coffee. And then I will, usually after I'm done making my bed is when I will smoke my first cigarette, but then I give a cigarette to the ancestors first because I figure they were probably all smokers, or the majority of them were.
A lineage.
Like, it's just a thing. Everybody smoked. Like, I always find it funny when I do an investigation at a location and people are like, I smell cigarette smoke. And I'm like, well, if it's not me, it's because everybody in this location for
Yeah.
100 years smoked. Whether it was a hospital or just a home, like everybody that's lived here has smoked. So,
Are you like a pack a day?
About, maybe a little less. Yeah, and so then what happens after that? Oh, so then I have my grandfather's level, like a bubble level.
Oh,
And
okay.
I check it, and then I check it, and I make sure that everything is still on the even keel, everything is still level.
like
And
that.
then I come downstairs to my altar, and I have a little bell that I ring, and maybe light some incense, and then go about my day.
Wow, that's great. That's like so much intention starting the day.
It only takes a few minutes, and then I'm doing anyway, just smoking and walking around the house trying to wake up.
I love that.
And it gives me a good moment to focus on other things, you know. Listen to the bell, and then I listen to the birds singing, which I'm happy the robins are back right now. So bird songs, and when I wake up, wonderful.
I have some Tenney just average Tenney questions now.
Yeah. By the way, just really quickly, I don't know the name of the researcher who did it, but this is a really funny thing that I did this week. So if you take a bird song and you slow it down like 400%, so like robins, it sounds at 400% of robin's song sounds like woo, 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 like that, right? So you record yourself doing that, and then you speed yourself up 600%, and you sound exactly like a robin. You sound exactly like the birds.
What?
So they're just living at a much quicker speed than we are.
Wow, it's like a juggalo call.
It's really crazy. All right, what's your John Tenney question?
Wait, I was just today I was talking about, because there was like this video that I was watching about like this guy that was playing a flute, and then like a raven, he's like and the raven is like wop 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 wop, and I've had this raven song stuck in my head the entire day, just these 5 little notes of wop 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 stuck in my head, and then I was like, how many ancient songs in the past were based off of bird noises? Because if anybody can make a catchy thing, it's a bird, right? It's a raven. I see ravens all the time. I'm like living in Odin's world. I see ravens all the time. It's amazing. And they're just womp, 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 like all day long.
But you know what's great about them is when you go outside and you listen to the entire sound of the forest, you'll hear it, but what's really fascinating. Like birds leave room for other birds to sing.
Yeah.
So like you'll hear a bird sing, and then a different bird will sing, and then a different bird will sing, and then the original bird will sing. And they are like, they're not communicating with each other, but they know that the other birds need time to say their
True.
piece of mind.
They need to mate too.
Yes. Or
They
find a
need
worm.
they need to get it out there.
Yes.
If only we could learn from birds on social media.
It's not going to happen.
Okay, what is the weirdest object you own? Or the weirdest thing in your house?
That's a good question. I think it's most people wouldn't think it's weird, but my dad gave me like a stone axe that his grandfather found in a lake,
Oh.
and it's like, I don't know, it's like 2,000 or 3,000 years old.
What?
And
That old?
yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah,
really cool.
yeah. So I think that's the weirdest thing in my house. I have a lot of like stuff that I think other people would think is weird, glass from haunted locations or
Hmm.
pieces of haunted locations or items that people have given me that are said are haunted. But like, I think that stone axe that was worked on and crafted by someone thousands of years ago, I think it's really strange that it's just sitting in my bookshelf.
That's really cool. That's not weird at all. I think that's awesome. I studied art history, so I love that kind of stuff. I love old
You want to see it?
stuff. Yes, I love old
Yeah.
stuff.
Hold on. Give me a second.
Yes. Z Canada man, you can ask me a question, but you have to follow the appropriate protocol and it better be good, okay? I see you. I've been seeing what everyone is saying over here. I see we've got some uncouth people in the chat. I've seen it all, okay? I see you. Protocol. Keep list. That's right. Whoa! Is that just it's just the head? Oh wow. It's just the head. That's super old. What? How does that even attach to a piece of wood?
Yeah. So you would do like leather strapping around
Oh,
this
like
portion
that.
of it to attach it to a piece of wood. But
Wow.
otherwise, it's just a big piece of stone.
What's it made out of? Like granite or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Super
It's
cool.
difficult to age it though because you can't carbon date stone.
Right, because it's already, it is it.
It is it. It is what it's gonna be forever.
Yeah. Okay, next one. And I have a couple more of these, and then I have questions from chat, which I'm not gonna promise. Okay. Name something you're really picky about.
I am really picky about. Oh, Jessica would know all this stuff. I'm really picky about. I'm picky about. I'm picky about my cigarettes.
Okay. Pencils.
I'm picky. I'm picky about pencils. I'm picky about. I don't talk about it because I just deal with it because I know the world is. I'm picky about the texture of t-shirts. Like some t-shirts are so like growing up and getting cheap t-shirts from punk rock bands, and they just felt like I was wearing canvas, and it's just horrible. I hate
How are your t-shirts?
it. That's what's weird. Jessica and I have been designing a new t-shirt for What's Up Weirdo, and our biggest like discussion is about finding the right t-shirt, because when you get t-shirts manufactured online, they're who knows what they're going to be put on.
Yeah.
They're going to be put on some weird cardboard Gildan, like whatever the cheapest shirt is they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I need to find like a nice soft one that I can put on like and would be okay sleeping in.
I, I know the answer because I've also got t-shirts and I have the same concerns as you.
Yeah.
What you want is Bella canvas.
Okay.
Soft.
Writing it down. How do you spell it?
Bella plus canvas. I use a merch site. I see that you use Teespring. I used to use Teespring.
Yeah, but not anymore because
Oh.
like people will order stuff and then like it'll wash out after like 2 washes.
Oh yeah. That's not
So
good.
like Yeah, so Jess and I are like, we just decided to go local and just find a silk screener
Oh,
and
well,
buy our
that's
shorts
cool.
and just sell them through ourselves.
Yeah, I started using Fourth Wall, which is the same kind of on-demand thing, but it's really good quality.
Okay, fourth wall, writing it down.
Yeah, Fourth Wall.
I'm
Um,
using a Mitsubishi Tombow a 8900 pencil to write all that down.
wow. It doesn't have an eraser on it. Do you use a separate eraser?
Yes, use a gum eraser.
Wow.
Very exciting for the pencil heads out there.
I mean, yeah, I fuck around with the 6B sometimes, you know.
There you go. See,
I know. I spent a lot of time in art class.
there you go.
Okay,
Pencils make a difference.
yeah, I don't honestly, I've been doing these since high school. Like they've got like the roller eraser that comes out. I don't even know if they sell these
Hmm.
anymore. They got the eraser forever little
Yeah,
little 7B.7
I will
thing
some.
coming
I will
out.
sometimes
Love
go
them.
with an actual eraser pencil. You know what I mean? Where I've got endless
Oh yeah, I
eraser.
got one of those. I got one of
Yeah,
those. I
yeah.
love those. I got one of those.
Pencil heads just going insane in the chat.
I know. I mean, some
They
some
came here for the
people.
ghost and they got pencil talk.
Can you see the chat? Can you see?
No,
Oh, okay. I mean, you're not wrong. So, I use an iPad now. I use Procreate, and I love it. Because I'm lazy at heart, so that works for me. What is the biggest scam in the world according to you? And this can be anything.
oh, the biggest scam in the world. Uh, just overall. God, it's got to have something to do with like uh, getting people to send you money so that your life will be better. Like, religion's gotten really good at that. Like
Yeah.
televangelists and stuff have gotten
Mm-hmm.
really good at that. But anybody that promises you that your life can be better by spending money, that's like the biggest scam.
Okay.
I
Like
don't,
you're
I
you're
don't think.
legitimately going for a scam. I was just gonna say life in general is the biggest scam. Cause like, what am I doing this for? Nobody knows. You know.
You know,
Like, what's the end? What's the end? What's the punchline?
the punchline is when we talk about this in the what we actually are in the after forever.
That's the punchline. Is just talking about it.
I mean, we're going to have a lot of laughs that are going to go on for longer than eternity. When you realize that you're me and I'm you, and we've just been having this conversation trying to figure each other out, and it was all me and you, and it was all you and me all the time.
Yeah.
We're going to be
Yeah.
so proud of ourselves.
I'm I'm pretty proud of you already. So I
I'm pretty
guess
proud of you.
I guess I'm proud of myself.
Yep, there you go.
Okay.
That's the answer.
Okay. Okay. What is your hottest paranormal take? And I'm talking about hot paranormal tea.
Oh, I have a few. Can I give a couple of hot paranormal takes?
Yes. Stay forever. Say it all, you know?
I mean, in 35 years, I've probably interacted with, I will undercut myself and say 7,000 psychics, and I probably know five psychics. So
The
that's a
real
little bit of a
deals.
hot take.
Real deals.
Real deals, people. I mean, I think we're all psychic to a certain level,
Yeah.
everyone. But like the people who really hardcore sell themselves as psychics, most of them aren't.
Why okay, why can they get as far as they do? Because is it just that they're masters of cold reading?
Cold reading and hot reading, and there are a lot of people looking for answers and don't know where to find them and think that they can find them outside of themselves.
Yeah. Are people that gullible? I guess they
I
are.
don't think they're gullible. I think people are that trusting. I think that most people are working honestly toward a betterment of themselves. And when you do that, you tend to trust people. And there are people who currently on their journey are not trustworthy.
Have all the real deal psychics, do they even work in TV?
No, well, the majority of psychics that I know, okay, I would push that number to 10. So, and I have seen some on television and I have seen some on paranormal shows. But the majority of psychics I know don't like being psychic and don't sell it.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a hot take.
It's pretty hot.
I also have I have a problem. We've seen an increase over the past maybe, I don't know, 10 years. I'm trying to think of how long ago the first show came out that just, I mean, I guess it really starts with like Annabelle and the
Oh,
Warrens.
right.
But I
Right.
have a really difficult time right now where I'm at in my personal space and my mindset. I have a real difficult time with the rise of inanimate objects that people say are like have attachments or are haunted or are cursed. I have real difficulty only because if I was presented with another living sentient being who had suffered through trauma and despair and hardship, I don't know if I would be carting them around and like demanding that they speak to me or demanding they heal their trauma or demanding that they do something for me at a haunted location or a place where like making an object or an artifact or whatever, whether it's a doll or a shoe, like if this thing has a traumatic past, I don't think it's great that we're like, hey, look at this thing that's cursed and had a horrible past and a horrible history. Let's make it talk to us.
It's like a sideshow kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of difficulty with the rise of that, the popularization of like everything at the thrift store is haunted.
Yeah, everything on eBay is haunted.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Although I think a lot of like haunted object sort of value, the value of a haunted object is the same value of an artwork. I think a lot of those things have something in common. Like you need a story, you need a reason for an object to be valuable, and I think also successful artworks in that sort of way tell a similar story, but they do it in less of a uh, they're not being extorted,
Right. Yes.
I guess.
Yeah. It's just I don't know if I have even the correct, because I know how I think about it in my brain. And I'm maybe not using my internal language properly. I just think it's really strange for someone to go like, I found this haunted thing at this place, and now I'm going to take it to another haunted place, and I'm going to revisit like trauma on it and
Yeah.
make it perform for me. Like
I
that
mean,
seems very odd as people who say that they're like kind and caring of the spiritual world.
yeah, I mean, there is a reason I dress up as Zach Bagans, and a lot of it has to do with that. So, don't get me
And aside
wrong,
from
I
that,
love it.
those two hot takes, what else? I think those are my only two at the moment current hot takes.
Okay,
Where
they're
are they actually hot?
they're warm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's hot tea, but I would say they're pretty warm. Um, do I have any hot takes? I'd say cemeteries aren't haunted. That's my hot take. But
It's reasonable.
I think my hot take is maybe demons are fun.
Mm, I could see that too.
Especially with all the panic going on. I don't think a lot of people would like that, but I like playing with fire or with that or something, you know?
I mean, as someone who lived through the first wave of satanic panic, like, I don't know. I think the concept of like if people got back to just like demons as trickstery type creatures,
That's why I like them. Yeah.
that's a little better.
That's how and I see like artists throughout history that always sort of align themselves with the figure of the devil and you know this sort of artistic outcast alignment, and I think that's
The
why
adversary.
exactly, I think that's why I love it so much. And some of my favorite artworks are just like 13th 12th 14th century like triptychs with like, you know, just the binary heaven and hell, and just like hell is the most fucking metal thing you've ever seen, and I just love it so much.
Right?
Yeah.
It's weird to think though that like that's on the scale of humanity, like that's relatively new though, right? Like I think hell is like that kind of metal place. It's only been this what, like maybe the 11th century is when that started to be that way.
Yeah, the brimstone, the witch hunts, all that. Just I love it. I love it so much. I mean, it sucked. Obviously, it really sucked being a woman
Um,
back then, but
I,
like,
I was about to say old bald white man again.
yeah, you know, but there were good ones. And you also have to be the good one. You have to be the one that actually is cool out of all of those. You have to be the one that is cool, that can be like, I'm not like the other ones, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Hot take, you can investigate any time of the day, anywhere you want.
ooh, yeah, I love that hot take. Yeah, you don't have to wait for darkness.
No,
Definitely.
ghosts are not sitting around looking at watches, waiting for it to be 3:15
Yeah.
in the morning.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. That it happens all the time in the middle of the day. I mean, have you ever seen anything weird in the middle of the day?
Yeah. Yeah. 35 years. Come on. I've seen weird shit all times of the day and night.
I
I got a
mean,
ghost cat that used to live in my house for
oh
years.
yeah?
Yeah. Clunk up and down the stairs and jump on the beds and knock shit over way more than when he was alive.
I love that. I wish my dogs would haunt me. I have a dog now. She does that anyway.
What kind of dog?
I have a thing for wieners. I have a thing for wiener dogs.
Oh, is baby?
She's 8 months old, so she baby.
She baby.
Yeah, she baby. Big time baby. Very
That
scruffy
dog.
wiener.
What's the lifespan on a wiener dog?
14?
Is
14
Oh,
years?
it's gonna outlive me.
Yeah. What's your lifespan?
Oh, I don't know. Solid 5, maybe.
You think so?
Who knows?
But some
Nobody
people are
knows.
just like, man, I'm gonna die in the next 4 years. I can feel it, you know?
I mean, my band, when my rock and roll band, we made a pact to get rid of ourselves all before we were 30, and that didn't work out.
Oh God, that's so young. That's
Oh
so
yeah, but I mean,
young.
at the time, you're like, fuck, 30.
Yeah. But you said earlier that we were going to get into talking about dressing up in costume and becoming different people. And before I wanted to go to the audience's questions, I did want to talk about. Oh, I'm doing the wrong thing with my microphone. I did want to talk about like shape-shifting. Do you think it's important for people to shape-shift? Whether that's, I mean, obviously, maybe not do it to the extent that I do it. I love to make my own characters and dress up as other people and change my voices. And you said that also you do it sometimes too, where you change your voice or you play around. Do you think that it's important for people to shapeshift?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's however's comfortable for them. It's an outward sign that their mental process isn't concreted either.
Okay.
I think we are ever changing. So, like, I decided I was going to paint my fingernails. Like that's a change. That's a part of shape shifting. And all of a sudden I look at my hand and don't recognize it. Like that's important too, that you're always experiencing yourself as something slightly new.
Yeah. I guess that's the reason why, is to see what else I can find.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are certain things that you become comfortable with. I'm super comfortable wearing ties, and so that's something I've done since my punk rock days. I was one of those, t-shirt with a tie on punk rock guys. Like I've always just liked a tie as an
The Avril
accessory.
Lavigne of the
Oh,
tie guy.
but years before, come on.
Yeah. I was doing
We're
that when
talking.
I ran my track and field events. I was wearing a tie and I was wearing knee-high striped socks.
I had left that all behind when I'm an old guy. I was doing it in the 80s, but I think it's important for people to change. I mean, I've even like Jessica and I talk about like I used to wear a lot of black clothing. It's slowly transitioning into gray. Like I'm going through a very Gandalf like period. I can see myself eventually. I've already started wearing white sweaters.
Oh
I
my
can already see
god.
myself like moving into my next Maiar form.
Beard getting longer.
Yes. Ooh, and I hate beards. Like this is a change chameleon process that I've been really working on to get through my own. I grew up, my father, like, if you have time to shave your face, that's when you're a man. So like I was clean shaven the majority of my life, and I love a clean shaven face. So learning to grow a beard and not shave is a chameleon-esque part of me.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes I just change my bangs, I guess that's the closest I can get to changing my beard. It's just like someday I'm gonna change my bangs.
Yeah. And then some changes happen. I used to have hair.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the universe is like, that you're not going to do that forever.
Did you have long hair?
No, I always had like a flat top or a mohawk. And then maybe in my rock band, it got down to my shoulders. But by that time, I was already starting to thin out. And so then for a long time, I did like spiky point in the front.
Okay.
And then eventually,
It's just like
just, yeah, like Jimmy Neutron.
Oh. Unicorn.
And then I was like, no, because I'm all bald back here. So this doesn't make any sense to have all this here.
It was a look, though. It was a look.
Back here.
It was a
So then just shave it off.
Okay. Well.
So it's important to change. It's important to allow yourself to change and to accept some changes that you might not want.
True. Yeah. I love your sweaters, though, I have to say.
Thanks. I used to have a lot of teeth. I don't have a lot of teeth now.
Do you miss them, or is it cool?
No, I miss them. I wish I had more teeth, and I might get more teeth.
Okay. Well, at least you can do something about that.
Yeah, but I mean, do I really want to waste money doing that? Do I really want to put that much energy and time into my teeth? They've done a fairly good job. I'm 52. I can still chew things.
I mean, you're just going to wait for them to fall out and then just get full-on dentures? Because I hear dentures suck,
Yeah, but so does having teeth that crack and break all the time. And then eventually you're going to get to a point where everybody, hopefully we all live long enough, where eventually you're going to get to a point where you're like, what are we fucking doing here with these teeth? These, like just pull them out. Give me something that'll last forever.
Let's fucking gum it.
Yeah, why not? That's peaches and cottage cheese and oatmeal for the rest of your life.
That's hot. I can't wait.
So it's important to change because it is like me, I really try not to believe in anything because I think that belief is concrete. And again,
belief is concrete. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that, like I said at the beginning, like the only thing I've ever been shown by the universe is that the nature of the universe is change and destruction and new forms. And so I think that you're doing a service to the universe by changing yourself and not being concrete.
Yeah, there's one of my friends here, a fellow streamer by the name of Cartoon Therapy. He's a wacky cartoonist, and he always says, "The universe wants you to dance."
Yeah, it's very Ram Dass.
Ram Dass. Yeah. I
Very
guess
Ram Dass. I think Cartoon Therapy called me Jonathan Ghost.
Oh my
far
god, did
earlier
you
in this
see?
month.
You're lurking. I was like, there's no way. You guys, Tenney's not here right now. There's no way he's watching. We're safe.
I'm a
He's gonna come
researcher. I have
on.
to pay attention.
He's not gonna click the link. He's gonna come on when he's gonna come on. We're safe. Johnny Ghost. He made a little character of me saying, have a taste of mother's milk. Because, you know, I'm in my crone energy. So mother's milk is what I give. So let's see what the chat has had to say over the last 2 hours. Okay, Miss
All right,
Hammer.
you got me for 15 minutes. I know I should have said baked beans, but I like baked or pinto
15
beans.
more minutes. Okay, it's gonna be lightning round. Okay,
Lightning round.
What films present the paranormal the best, most accurately?
I mean, Dark Song does a pretty good job of showing magic.
Okay.
Devil Rides Out with Christopher Lee does a pretty good job of showing crazy magic. Paranormal investigation wise, I would go with. I do love the Stone Tape, the BBC movie, The Stone Tape.
Okay.
And I also kind of like. There's aspects of paranormal research in the movie. I think it's from 1967 called Quatermass in the Pit.
A quarter mass in the pit.
Quatermass and the Pit.
Okay. Okay.
If anybody looks up anything, a guy who had a really good grip on paranormal research, he was a writer for the BBC and some English television shows. His name was Nigel Neal, and he wrote a ton of great stuff. He didn't believe in anything, but he just seemed to have a really good awareness of what it would be like to investigate paranormal phenomena.
Okay. All right. Critter Jason wants to know, who is your punk Mount Rushmore?
It would be, goodness gracious, Gibby from the Butthole Surfers, Jello from the Dead Kennedys, 2 more. Maybe. It's a good question. I think here's the thing. Here's the problem. I'm going to give you those 2 as my Mount Rushmore because the other 2, in a real punk rock ideological John Young punk rock sense, would be a real kill your heroes type of person,
Okay.
like destroy your idols. So the other 2 heads on that Mount Rushmore would have been blown up with dynamite.
That's a very punk answer of you. Okay, Miss Hammer Time says, has the energy changed from when you started engaging with the paranormal and that of today?
For me, no. I think that engagement brings engagement, and it's always been similar for me. When I choose to engage, it engages. If the universe taps you on the shoulder, you have 2 options. You can play and you can not play. And when I play, it's as weird as it is. And when I don't play, it's not weird, and I don't think it's changed.
Okay. Friend of Baphomet wants to know, why do people seem to limit phenomenon to ghosts or demons? There's tons of lore from multiple cultures suggesting a variety of entities.
Yeah, I love it. I think that people get too caught up sometimes in saying like, oh, well, it's an angel or a spirit or a demon, without considering the vast like cultural moray of ideas and concepts. Discussing whether it's going to Europe and discussing like imps and elves and kobolds and gnomes, or going somewhere else and talking about the jinn. I live just outside of Dearborn, Michigan, which is the largest Middle Eastern population in the outside of the Middle East. And for decades, I've had to field calls about jinn, not ghosts, because they don't have ghosts; they have jinn. And so it's interesting to see those kind of cultural like interactions where someone's like, oh, I have a poltergeist, but if you asked someone from a different place, they'd be like, oh, it's a jinn, you have a elemental. If you talk to someone from South America and someone from China, like they might be having the same experiences but calling them different names. I think that America, being what it is, everybody just applies a Judeo-Christian ethic to it and a
Yeah.
Judeo-Christian belief system to it, and that's heavily problematic.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Okay. Okay. Cinnabon's calling you Papa for some reason. What does Papa think about ChatGPT? Someday we can train a model on everything someone said and remake their ghost. Is that a question? Okay.
I have problems with AI, a lot of it.
Okay.
Just because I think it's already feeding back on itself.
Right.
Like it's starting to read itself, and it's gotten itself into a closed loop where like now it's just reading what it wrote for someone else, and so it's not even really looking at its own information anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's interesting. I've already seen paranormal investigators using ChatGPT to do investigations.
Yeah.
But it's also funny too, like if you type into ChatGPT, like, can you write me a spell to make it rain? And ChatGPT will respond. Usually it used to, up until a couple months ago, it used to say like, sure, but you should know that magic isn't real.
Oh, I should do more with that.
Yeah, it's very strange. Or you say like, can you write me invocation to summon extraterrestrials? Sure, there's no such thing as magic though, and aliens haven't been proved to exist, but here's a spell to do that.
How trad.
Yeah, very weird.
Okay. What's Cinnabon, what is your unexpected hobby?
My unexpected hobby is cooking.
Oh, you cook?
I like to cook.
What do you like to make? That's my question.
Oh, I like to make I like to bake, so I like to make cookies and cakes.
Really? Same?
But I also like my favorite food is Indian food, and I've been struggling for decades to get it right, and I just don't have it in me.
It's hard.
It's very hard. Yeah.
And you're a vegan baker also. That's a different level.
Yeah. Pears instead of eggs.
Okay. Yeah, I was working. I had to cook a lot of vegan baked goods. So I would love to share a secret recipe with you.
Ooh, is it the water from inside the can of beans?
No, I don't fuck with that. No, I don't have any recipes with that in. I do have a really good recipe for chocolate cake, and I have a really good recipe for carrot cake, if you're interested.
Do you know about the water in bean cans?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's used
chickpea
as
water.
a replacement. Yeah, replacement for eggs.
Yeah, it always just tastes kind of like dirt, though, a little bit.
That's why you got to use pears.
So I have a lot of pears. I had a pear tree growing out, and I've got pear sauce, and I've got like chunky pears, and they need to go in something. So yeah, I mean, send some recipes to me.
There's a dad joke in there about paranormal.
What is the joke?
I don't know. I'm just saying there's a really bad dad joke in there about paranormal.
That was like a dad insertion more than it was a dad joke. Okay. No, but off stream, we're gonna send each other recipes, and you're gonna have to check my messages because it's for your benefit.
Okay? All right.
Can you ask Tenney about the UFO summoning ritual on the cruise ship? From Wheelwright, CJ.
Yeah, I did a UFO summoning ritual on a cruise ship, and you never know how rituals are going to go. The one that we did do that worked, we've done three. It worked twice. The first time was really scary because we weren't summoning UFOs. We were summoning up from something from the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, okay.
Don't do that. That got really hairy, and our cruise ship got lost the next day.
Oh my god.
Well, that night, after we did a ritual in the Bermuda Triangle to bring up something from the Bermuda Triangle. About 5 hours later, fog rolled in, and our cruise ship got 60 miles off course. But we did one on a cruise ship, and we moved the clouds away from the moon, and then the entire cruise ship, as we were all thinking about the heavens and up above us, like thousands upon thousands of dragonflies swarmed the ship. It was like 10:30 at night, and just started landing on people's shoulders and landing all around us.
Wow.
And as soon as everyone like realized what was happening, like these things out of the sky had come to us. Like we all started laughing and they all just flew away.
I love dragonflies.
It was great. And there was no reason. We were in the Gulf of Mexico. There was like dragonflies don't fly over huge bodies of water. They go to places where they can like sit in shallow ponds. And everybody looked when we got back home and we're trying to find like migratory patterns of dragonflies. And there was no reason tens of thousands of dragonflies should have swarmed our ship, except for us calling for sky creatures to come visit.
Wow. Okay, Lee. Okay. Gothic Fried Chicken wants to know, what is your favorite food or beverage to consume when investigating?
Oh, Jessica laughs at me all the time because I'm a really old man on my foods. I like a nice cracker, like a plain cracker.
Like the body of Christ?
Like a oyster cracker or like a Ritz cracker.
Okay.
I don't know. When I investigate, I tend not to eat or drink a lot just because I become very aware of what my stomach is going to do in the dark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Like if you eat and then all of a sudden you're like in the darkness, people are like, what is that? And your stomach can sound a lot like
Yeah.
People are like, oh shit, there's a demon here. And it's just because you had Taco Bell earlier.
Yeah, I would get worried because I didn't eat something that it would be doing all that. The SD Moon Wishes wants to know, what potato did you want to win the potato poll, the Starch Madness that you were doing?
Oh, baked potato.
Okay.
Baked potato is the best potato.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, Plain Toast No Jam wants to know, what does Mr. Tenney think of Radionautica and other magical uses of quantum entropy that is magical with a CK?
I think it's interesting. I mean, I do love experimenting with new technologies and like I think Tenney, I used to do this thing called Tenney Answers Tweets on YouTube, and there was and this is probably back in 2005 or 2006, but I used to ask viewers to tell me which directions to go into so I could find new weird locations. And so I appreciate that type of embracing technology to get to magical places. I just think that there are old forms that we need to look at and also learn to not do. I think the interesting thing for me is like when I do look at old magic, because I talk about individualized expressions of magic so much, I think it's interesting to me, like it's kind of that art thing, right? Like know it and then break the rules. Like look back at what people were doing in magic so that you can do something new. So I appreciate using new technologies to do magical stuff.
Subversion.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 more questions. Do spirits judge our actions? Do you think they're hypocrites for watching us without us knowing? From Tree Farmer.
If again, just speculating and ideas, I don't know if they're even really aware that we're around. I think that if I had to guess, they experience us the way we experience them.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they're really like spying on us. And I've told people again for years at my lectures, like if I do become a ghost and I'm anything like I am now, the last thing I'm going to do, like I don't do it in life. I don't want to spy on people. I don't want to like watch people's lives. I want to learn things. So I'm not going to hang around in a house. Like I'm going to be off this fucking planet. If I'm not tied to it biologically or chronologically, like as soon as I die, I'm in space. I'm sitting in the heart of a sun. I'm checking out the Andromeda galaxy. I'm not waiting around in a room to whisper no in a recorder.
And not watching Tree Farmer Charlie masturbate. So Tree Farmer Charlie, don't worry.
There you go.
Nobody wants to see that. Not even ghosts. Okay, and what do you have going on? What's coming up next? What should we be on the lookout for from Maxidrums?
Oh, geez. Make me look at my calendar.
Yeah, I've got, if you type !guest in the chat, you will find all of Tenney's links, all the good stuff, all the things you need to know. There it is.
Jessica, I don't know. Jessica and I have to host a movie tomorrow.
Okay, is that for your pates?
No, we just have to host it for the advanced screen.
Oh, okay.
I have a parade that I protest every year. That's on Sunday. I have to do that.
Oh. Okay.
There's like a 5,000 person parade, and maybe like 15 or 20 of us go down and we protest the parade.
Okay.
That's on Sunday.
It sounds really edgy.
So in Detroit, there's a legend of a little red demon. And so every year they have a parade to banish the demon out of Detroit so that things will be okay in Detroit. But the history of the red demon was written by a French Canadian girl about 130 years ago. And she's not talking about a red demon. She's talking about the red men that live in Detroit. And so this is a very horrible thing that is celebrated every year, the banishing of the red people from downtown Detroit.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So
oh
we
boy.
go down we go down and protest. Then I have an event in Ohio on the 12th and 13th. And then some other events that I don't really know about. But people can listen to What's Up Weirdo every week.
Yep, I'm doing it now. And do you have plans to continue that in the future? Because I know you said it was created out of a sort of pandemic necessity. Do you see that coming?
I never thought that I'd have to talk to Jessica this much that long. But yes, it'll probably go on. We're already at we're entering our fourth year, I think, now.
Yeah. What happened to the last 4 years? I don't know.
Gone.
I can't. I'm gonna try to get her over here too, and she's a lot of fun.
She's a lot of fun, because you're not best friends with her.
I understand that sentiment,
I love my best friend.
You guys do a lot of fun stuff together, it looks like. I never leave my house, so good for you guys, Streamers never leave their house.
Her house either. She doesn't leave her house that often.
She's really good at watching movies, though, and I'm not.
But I don't know really what I'm doing. Check me out on Twitter or Instagram or something. Listen, it's going to be Twitter as long as it says twitter.com.
I say the same thing. You're very active on Twitter, so definitely if you are also on Twitter just like sitting in the attic reading tweets like I am, then you should go follow Tenney's Twitter, go to Weird Lectures.
And then I'll pay you for lessons in OBS.
No, I will do this for free.
No, you won't. You will be valued and your work will be valued.
No, seriously, please stream. The world needs you on Twitch. I'm not joking. I
will pay you a hefty fee to teach me how to do it. And then
will you do it?
And then I will fire you without care or cause or concern.
Just to create
stream drama. That's to create stream drama. Gets all the clicks. It gets all the views.
I will cybermancy and hex your name if you do that.
What I'm going to do when I start my Twitch channel is I'm going to do that thing where I watch your streams, but I'm just in the corner, commenting on your stream.
You're stream sniping.
Everything that's wrong with your stream.
I mean, I will fight you.
And then will you do that to the one of me in the corner? So then it'll be your screen and me. Can we keep doing it over and over again?
Yeah, I'm interested in subverting Twitch.
Yeah.
No, seriously, are you gonna start? Are you gonna?
Seriously, are you gonna teach me how to use the software?
Absolutely. I'm not joking.
Absolutely, that.
I don't say things I don't mean. That's not the kind of internet person I am.
Well, you are not an internet person then.
That's why I'm not successful.
All right, it's a deal.
Okay, good.
Little magic wand pinky swear. That's what the pinky's good for.
I have really tiny pinkies. It's just, look how tiny they are.
No, I have kind of weirdly long fingers.
They never fit in gloves, and I definitely can't play guitar with these.
I'm doing a light palm reading on you right now.
The other way around, though. Look,
Which is your left hand?
This one.
Let me say the palm of that hand.
It's all doom and gloom.
I got a little bit off that. That's all right. We can talk about it later.
Look how tiny my pinky is. What does that mean?
Look at how far away it is from the other fingers. Ooh.
I know it's going its own way. It's Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, that's a telltale sign.
I've got an ankh. Do you have any tattoos?
No.
Oh, wow. Punk
I made
and
it through the entire 80s without any punk tattoos.
Disappointing shocker. Thank you, Lodge Flogic. Thank you very much.
How fucking punk is that I made it through the punk scene without getting a fucking punk tattoo like everybody else did?
I guess you could see it that way.
Be individual just like the rest of us.
Wear cardigans.
You know how many people were mad when I showed up on TV investigating ghosts in a tie?
You know what? I realized that I watched the entire Ghost Stalkers like 10,
Sorry
12
about that.
years ago. And then I didn't even realize it was you until I started doing a little bit of research, and I was like, oh my God, I've seen all of this. And then I was like, who's that guy in a tie?
Yeah, people hated it because I wasn't wearing a black muscly t-shirt.
It doesn't age well.
You got to be muscly, and you got to have weird, like, pants that have, like, a lot of stitching on the pockets.
I know. I've dressed up as it. I'm very detail-oriented. I even created a ghost hunting game inside OBS, so if anybody can help you, it's me.
Well, I used to have, that's what, 2009? This is before when I was clean shaven. I used to have a website called paranormalgoatees.com where I would rate all of the goatees and beards on Paranormal State.
You see, that's a stream.
A lot. There's a lot.
You see, before it was a website, and now it's a stream topic. And you just spend an entire stream dedicated to that, and boom, Bob's your uncle. There you go. Now you're a streamer.
And now I'm just 6 hours of me looking at other guys' fucking weird, hairy faces. People would watch that?
Absolutely. Everybody here they would watch it. Look
at
everyone's like, yeah, goatee tier list. Yeah, everyone's saying a tier list. Everyone's saying 5-head goatee tier list. People will watch it. We would. That's for sure a stream. Yes.
And then I can do because I did on that website. I did historical paranormal goatees. Like Richard.
Can that be your first
Sedgwick.
stream? You've already researched it.
I have all the documentation.
Okay, everyone says bring it back. I'd watch that. Yep. Okay. All right. I would watch a stream of Tenney eating cereal. Okay, great. You've got to go. This has been a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun.
My dad is in the house.
I have to wish my dad a happy birthday. Okay, hold on.
Everybody. Is your dad's birthday soon?
Is my dad what?
Is your dad's birthday soon?
It's now.
Oh, my dad's birthday is tomorrow.
Wow. Pisces dads. When's your birthday?
Mine? Which one?
The main one?
Because I had a heart attack and died.
True, you did.
So I have 2 birthdays. My original birthday is August 24th.
Okay.
Virgo, Leo, I'm cuspy.
Cool.
But then the next one's in January, so Aquarius.
October 31st in the house.
That's fake.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I'm done. I gotta go.
Okay, bye. Thank you. I would take you backstage now, but you gotta go.
Thank you for having me on. It's been wonderful. I hope that people enjoyed watching us babble.
You're wonderful. I think they did. Anytime you have free, just come back on. Let me know when you need help with the OBS. I'm just gonna let you go right now. Normally I would take you backstage and have some very strong words for you, but I'm just gonna let you go now because I know you have to go.
What about IBS? Can you help me with that?
That's out of my pay grade.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for giving me the time of day. Seriously.
Get me out of here.
Okay, bye. You can end it any time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.